They can stop you. They will stop you. Ladies and gentlemen, we know the audio is not working. Usually, as for me, I fucked it up, and I'm fixing it right now. The meantime, everyone else in the stream is cussing up a storm and doing everything they can to be absolutely... There we go.
Oh, a Diddy handbag.
Titi croissant.
I don't know why I went Italian, but I did.
Oh, Titty Handbag is here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to dinner.
Titty handbag is here.
Welcome back to Dinner and a Game, where we supply you with all the titty handbags you could ever need or want, and where you supply us with people to share in our delusion that we are funny.
I think I figured out what my new dice bag is going to be.
Oh, do you like the opening, Admiral?
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, I love this plan.
I made a ball sack for a friend, so I could totally make a titty handbag.
Was it a hairy ball sack or a clean?
Yes, it was. No,
Oh my
it was
God.
hairy. It was veiny. It was amazing.
At least it's not the freaking the fuzzy flesh dice.
It had a seam on it.
Oh man, those dice were creepy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you went to Gen Con you encountered any of us, some of us had these dice that were given to us, these D20s. And to say they were disturbing is an understatement in a grand way.
Well, no, these ones
these
are great.
the fuzzy ones?
They
But
were,
they
so
had
they were
like
silicone, and then they were inked with like hair.
yeah, they had they had like
Yeah.
hairy bristles in all the numbers, so it like like a ball sack. It was flesh colored too.
Weird,
It
yeah,
was just so. It was
weird
very
thing.
disturbing, man.
I
It was
kind of wanted to take one home.
Someone's got their sound up really loud.
No, that was me. I was playing the show on the phone so that I
Gotcha.
could see the chat.
Gotcha. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for Dinner and a Game this evening. It is Wednesday night, and normally we would be playing D&D 5e, but we have a friend, and they are needing some time away. So we are going to... Hang on a second. What is wrong with this?
Everything.
Oh, cams. No,
To be fair, there's a lot of things that could be wrong.
That's what's wrong with you.
It exists in America.
It exists in America. It exists.
It exists.
They don't
Therefore,
know
it's wrong.
cats in America.
All right, I think that's working now.
There's too many cats in America. That's the problem.
There's too many cats in America. All right,
It's
so
the immortal words
not
of Bob
talking about
Barker.
you, little
Spay or
guy.
neuter your pets.
Yes, yes.
May he rest in peace.
Still don't think.
Bob Barker.
I
Look,
fixed
we
it.
have the problem of having too many cats. Ireland still has a snake problem. It's called the British.
In the immortal words of Bob Barker, spay or neuter your politicians.
Also,
Agreed.
yes.
May he come on
yeah.
down for eternity.
Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we said 3 million times now, welcome to Dinner and a Game. And tonight, though, instead of playing 5e, we're going to be playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Now, the reason for that, as we said, is twofold. Number one, because one of us needs a time off, and we're going to give them all the time they need. So we're going to do a limited run campaign of Pathfinder 2e, still playing it in Kingdoms of Mist. And we are going to be playing it using the 2e rules and the 2e bestiary. So you might see some stuff that you haven't seen before, because Pathfinder has a very extensive bestiary, and even for 2e, and it's got some really neat shit in it. So I'm looking forward to bringing some of that out and running it around and blowing people up. But
Oh.
I'm not going to learn how to use my character because we're going to die.
Yeah.
why do you
It's
think
fine.
I'm going to kill
It's fine.
you?
This is fine.
Because Sam said something pre-stream.
What do you say?
I didn't say shit.
I don't remember what it was, but he said something, and then you said you were going to kill us all.
No, I know exactly what I said. I said because of how the system is built,
Mm-hmm.
it is a lot easier to balance, and it's a lot more accurate on the actual scale for balancing than D&D 5e. There's less guesswork.
Less guesswork, but more
Less
guessing.
guesswork. I don't know what I'm doing.
I used to run Pathfinder first.
Totally fine.
It's the thing I loved about the system was that there were formulas on how to build creatures from scratch, and every one of them would be, if you followed that framework, would be balanced to what CR you were trying to balance to. It was really, really easy to make things and not accidentally make them too underpowered or overpowered. Unlike D&D, where one ability can immediately break a creature and make it either TPK or too weak.
You know what? I've been playing 5e since 2014, and I can tell you that the only thing overpowered in 5e are the players.
Yes.
Shadows
Shadows?
early game.
Well, shadows are but they're early game. That's why. That's the only thing that's even scary. I know, because a friend of mine did a turkey over at the Grouch Couch. He did a challenge where we did one-on-one fights with monsters, and it was like I drew the 3rd level power slot, so I did a shadow and he did something else, and I fucked him up because Turk didn't know what shadows do, and I was just like, you can't actually hurt me.
Love it.
It was great. But tonight we're not playing 5e. We're playing Pathfinder. And one thing about Pathfinder that I will say is that the PCs are not OP. The creatures in this game are decently powered to where if you're playing 10th level characters and I make a encounter that's based around challenging a group of 10th level players or characters, you are going to struggle. Mm-hmm. It is going to need to be tactical, and you're going to need to know what you're doing. Yes, Cassie, you're going to die.
Okay, me too. We'll die together.
We'll die together.
Die like women
Snakes,
together.
We will
it's
die
up to
like
us.
women.
Oh boy.
We gotta hold everyone together. We gotta keep everyone alive. As best
I
we
don't
can.
even know how to play a character with no
Good
magic.
luck.
And you know what magic I have? Light.
It's a good thing I took Cauterize.
To Carter.
Oh my god, I got
Wait,
light.
am I the only
Do I know what
technical-
magic I have? None.
I don't have
mean,
any
I
healing
only
abilities.
have light because of my race.
I know.
I'm only a half caster to what we have no healers. I hope y'all picked up healing potions.
I don't know what that is.
What's a healing potion?
Oh,
You guys can take some
fuck.
healing potions. Your 10th level. Oh, by the way, this limited run campaign is starting out at 10th level because I wanted to delve into some really exciting encounters and some really exciting lore and everything like that to drop, because we are going to be playing on a set of planets that we have never touched in game yet, and we've been playing Kingdoms of Mist for 3 years. So we have never been to the Dark Twins. The Dark Twins are a set of they're 2 planets, but they're caught in something called a Roche field. A Roche field is when 2 bodies of mass in space kind of get locked in a orbit that keeps them orbiting around each other as they orbit something else like a sun. Now, the biggest problem with this is these are planets, not like asteroids or anything like that, so they're so massive that on the areas where the planets are closest together, they're literally tearing each other apart and they're exchanging mass back and forth. So huge chunks of the planets are tearing off and then drifting over and smashing into the other planet. So this, and the natives of the Dark Twins call this the girdle. The girdle is a belt between 2 planets. It literally can be seen as you fly into them from space, and it has become one of the mainstays of the type of life that is associated with the Dark Twins. Life here is harsh. It is violent. It is often very, very brief. But those who have learned to make these 2 planets their home have become masters of survival. The worlds are known as Bilas and Exyath. Bilas is mainly looked at because in the terms of the actual planets themselves, Bilas is looked at as the masculine, and Exyath is looked at as the feminine, and they are considered brother and sister to the natives of the world, who actually tend to be more shamanistic in nature so they tend to worship the planets themselves, as there's nothing crueler or more beautiful than Mother Nature, and they just happen to be in one of the most violent versions of that. So, everyone who is playing today is going to be playing a character that is currently on the Dark Twins. We are actually going to be starting out on Belas, as we are going to be starting out in one of the capital city there, which is pretty much a city that is on the bank of a very large lake in the center of a crater. And this lake has an island in the center of it, and on that island, they have erected a tower that serves as a port for all the airships that come and go from this planet. This island is almost on the exact opposite side of the planet from the girdle. So, it is basically the geographic opposite of the girdle. But that's where we're going to be starting out at. Now, what I wanted to do is say hello to the amazing people who are going to be playing this game with us tonight, and see who they're going to be playing. So let's start with our upper left here, Mr. Sphinx Akasha. Hello,
Me?
Hello, Sphinx.
Hello there.
How have you
hello
been?
there.
Hello there.
Hello there. I am all right. It is. It has been a very interesting week, and I am. I'm glad to be here with all of you.
And I am now speaking as Ludwig van Drek. Wants to hi.
Oh, hello there.
Who are you playing tonight?
Tonight, I will be playing Mr. Idris Aratil. He is a spell shot, which is basically a magic gunslinger, or a magic empowered gunslinger.
And it's all about empowering in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you are, like I said, we're 10th level, and I did tell you guys took magic items and everything like that, like I told you to. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
So, I did set them up with gear and magic accoutrements that would be roughly equivalent to 2 characters around 10th level. So they're not starting out this blind. They're equipped. But we'll see how it goes. Next, we'll continue to move around the horn here and say hi to Miss List 2.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've decided to start a little sewing project, but in order to do the sewing part, I have to rip a bunch of seams.
Oh, well, seam ripping can be fun and cathartic.
Always
Yes.
fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've decided to. I have a lace dress, and I've decided that I want to rip apart the center seam of both of the layered skirts and then sew them together and then sew them back so it's more open, like half skirty.
Uh-huh.
It'll be fun.
A bullet skirt.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Everyone has things that they enjoy doing, and it doesn't matter if I understand them or not. Actually, I thought about trying to take up sewing because I want to start making my own cosplay costumes. But the problem is, and I inherited a sewing machine from my mother when she passed, so I have an old Singer sewing machine in here.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but in the meantime, Miss Liz, who are you going to be playing tonight?
I am going to be playing Este Mazak, who is our rogue. I'm going no magic, and it's going to be weird because I'm not too great at the not magic. Lex is different because there's rage, and I can just be angry and hit things. Now I have to be methodical.
You have to plan out your actions because you get one big shot, and then you got to run and hide.
Yes.
Continuing our orbit around the player characters, we have Markov and Co. And how
What
are
up,
you
y'all?
doing?
A lot better now that I'm not working, but I have to look forward to that tomorrow, so I'm not thinking about it.
That's the best way to do it. And if there's anyone who can get down not thinking, it's you.
I fucking wish. The moment there's only a few times I'm able to get my brain to shut the fuck up.
Oh, I know. ADHD is a thing.
Add autism into the mix and it just gets worse.
Dun dun dun. So, who are you going to be playing tonight?
Tonight, I will be playing a very old character of mine, Cecil Redmayne, a magus. A sort of hybrid caster who takes the magic they cast imbues it into a great sword, and then go smash.
Smashy, smash, smash, smash. So, I was trying to remember. I thought you were more of a caster too.
They do have the ability to cast spells. They do specialize in being more of a martial caster, kind of semi-similar to paladins of 5e, just more of a arcane focus. Depending on what hybrid study they select, they can be anything from using a bow staff to quite literally... Wait, is my thing doing the thing again? What the? Hold on a second.
Yeah, I can hear me talking through your mic. Dun 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 dun. Nope, still hear it.
That is weird. That shouldn't be happening.
I don't know. Well, we'll see if you can. We'll get that figured out in just a second. We're gonna finish off with player characters with Lady Vamp.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I got the day off today, so I've just been reading a lot today.
Yes, a certain event happened today, didn't it?
It was great. I was so excited.
How many did you acquire?
Not very many. I think I only got like 10 or 12. I only
10 or 12.
briefly looked through the list. Yeah, I got like 30. Last stuff you can know. So,
Actually going for the next couple of days too.
I know it's like a 3-day event.
It's a 3-day event this time.
Wow.
Yeah, because some books are only available like 1 day for free, and some are available for 3 days for free. Yeah.
Well, I know it. I remember last year you guys went nuts too. So.
Yeah, I love it.
So, and who are you going to be playing tonight?
I am playing Ser Accordia Armilius. She is a she's a fetchling, and I'm a swashbuckler.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know what that means, but we're gonna figure it out.
There are going to be some buckled swashes tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That is without a doubt.
I don't. That didn't sound right.
It sounded completely right.
It sounded exactly the way he meant it to.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, also, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget, if you can, we have several different people that we have associated ourselves with in order to try and help David Dinner in the Game generate some revenue, because we are looking to bring on some paid DMs. I am literally in the process of interviewing people right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and show you some of the people that we're going to be working with in the future. And some that we currently are working with. Speaking of them, we have Many Worlds Taverns, which is an amazing purveyor of coffees and fine teas. You guys, this is a discount code, which is Dinner in a Game, and a link. If you use the link to order from Many Worlds Taverns, we will get 10% of your purchase. And if you use the discount code Dinner in a Game, you will get 10% off your entire order. Now, I don't know what they're doing it right now, but they have been doing free shipping specials for anything over $50. But I didn't check tonight and make sure that it's still going on, so you might want to check that out first. But if you will use that link and order, we will get a small kickback from that. And by small, I mean we usually make like $5 or $10 a month. From Many Worlds Taverns. But you know what it is? It's $5 or $10 a month we didn't have before that. So never hesitate to use that link if you want to order some amazing coffees and teas. The chai spice is absolutely fucking stunning. I forgot to order the breakfast tea again, and I want to order it because the English breakfast is supposed to be good. There is, what was your favorite, Sphinx?
The sands. It's the masala chai.
Yeah, the masala chai. Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite as well. But they also have amazing coffees. They have a specialty coffee they release every single month, which is a limited numbered amount of bags that they have available. This month it was 1,000, and they sold out of it within 6 hours. So, needless to say, their monthly specialty blends are incredibly well sought after. Usually, I buy multiple bags of them when I get them, but they cut that back to 1 bag a piece, and they still sold out. So, but it is amazing coffee, and we can't recommend it highly enough. And as I said, their teas are incredible. So, give them a try. Use this link when you do it, and that way you'll be able to get the discounts, and we'll be able to get some help. Also, do not forget, in any way, shape, or form, that if you guys want to support us, we do have merchandise. If you can see, there is someone wearing one of our hoodies right there, and I am wearing the shirt that was inspired by this. Oh, you're wearing the DAG shirt, and I'm wearing the shirt that was inspired by this show. It says "Intelligence is a dump stat." Dun dun dun. And I do believe that phrase was coined by Miss Liz.
No, that was. I think that was Milagros.
I think it was Milagros.
Yeah,
It
was
was-
it Milagros?
It must have been Milagros. It was just, I always remember because it was my very first game. Because we started talking about stats.
But yes, and it is not just the inspired by the show, but it is the theme of the entire show. So, and you'll find out that in just a minute. And also, don't forget that we are currently in the process of trying to bring on some paid DMs. Right now, what we're looking to do in order to support that is we're trying to get to 100 subs on Twitch. I have not been doing a good job of promoting the streams, and I'm going to do my best to get better at that, which includes doing things like we're going to be trying to get some product in to do giveaways with. I have some people that I know who are associated with Pathfinder, so I'm going to see if we can get some products from Pathfinder to give away on the stream, whether it be digital books or actual hard copies, which is what I hope people would like. We're going to be going through and... What was that? How dare you pay people? Yeah, no. Every single time I've mentioned that, I get people DMing me on our social medias going, "You're ruining the game. You're paying people to DM, and that's setting a bad precedent. And people are supposed to DM because they love the game." And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Fuck off.
That's basically what my. That's
If
what my
you can
TikTok
do
video
what
was
you
about.
love and get and paid for it, what's the problem?
Literally.
Absolutely.
I mean,
People gotta eat. Come on.
People gotta
Come
eat. People gotta love. People gotta do all the things they do. But we're gonna go ahead and do our best to make sure that happen. I've actually I interviewed 2 people today, and I'm going to be interviewing some more later on in the week. We're giving everyone till Friday to respond, and those that do want to try out, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be basically looking at talking to them about getting some kind of written write-up of what they're thinking about doing. And it's going to be pretty much exactly what you would think it's going to be. We're going to be letting them run what they want. They're going to own the IP for what they create. The only thing they're not going to own is they're not going to completely own is the video copies of the works they create on our stream, because we want to be able to have those for our VOD. And so if they get done running and they want to leave the stream and they want to take the entire show and cast with them, they're completely allowed to, because they own the rights to all that. But if they want to stick around, we would love that as well. So, but we're going to go ahead and start into some endeavors with that, because we really want to make the content here more accessible, which means we just need to create more of it. And unfortunately, being old and working full-time means that I am pretty much at the end of my spoons. And so I need help. And I don't believe in asking people to help out of the goodness of their hearts when everyone's time has value. And so that should be rewarded. And they're putting forth effort for me, so I'm going to do that. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and see what's up in the Pathfinder version of Kingdoms of Mist tonight. So you all are... You've been around for a while. Have any of you decided that you're going to be native to this planet? Or these planets? You do not have
No.
to be.
Quick question before I give a yes or no answer. Is there almost like a how would I describe it? more of like a almost like a cold, more mountainous region,
Mm-hmm.
heavy conifer forests and such.
Yes.
Probably from this planet in that case, because that is sort of where the character grew up.
Gotcha. So, on the two worlds, Balas is much more of a badlands, deserts, and scrubs type of planet. Lots of dry climates, a lot of arid climates. But there, as you get closer to the girdle, because of the violent nature and because there's basically constant earthquakes and everything like that and all the upheaval, the only life that really is well sustained there is stuff that can grow fast. So what you have is you have extreme in the valleys and lowlands and the wet country, you have jungles that are steamy and teeming with life. But in the mountains that surround the girdle, which oddly are always under change because it's just a very violent planet. In the mountains around the world, the only thing that really can grow with minimal effort is conifers because they grow so fucking fast. So
That works perfectly.
yeah. So the mountains are been thrust up through the violence, and they're all insanely tall. And they're very, very, very steep. So only the most daring and the most adventurous people kind of try and make that their home. But they're also one of the few places on this planet that you will find snow, because they're high enough in elevation to where it gets cold enough to actually keep snow on the ground.
And what planet was this one? One more time? Which of the two?
Bilas, Bilass. Bill ass.
Billy's butt.
Billy's butt.
Considering the rugged nature of the character, that actually works perfect.
Gotcha. What about anyone else?
Billy's Bakery.
Yeah,
I'd
not
say, yeah, not originally from, but definitely has lived there for maybe a year or two.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, are you see yourself more as urban?
Yeah.
Okay. So you probably live in, like I said, in the capital city, which is literally just called town.
I love it.
And like I said, the lake is not massively huge, but because you can see from one shore to the other. Think like in the Chicago area where you can look across and see the other side. But the biggest issue is with the lake and everything like that is that the lake is a crater lake, so it's incredibly deep. Because of that, there's abundant life in it. There's fish and everything like that. But the island is on a central atoll in the center of the lake, and then there's very little on the island itself except for like boat docks all around it. And because when they bring stuff off the airships, there's no place to store it on the island. There's not enough land space. So when they bring stuff off the airships, it instantly gets loaded into freight boats and then taken back to the shore, where it basically goes to the general warehouses wherever it's supposed to go. This is also a reason that the city has come to form along the entire shore of the lake, because they don't want to go a long distance trying to lug this stuff back and forth. So they just kept on building around the ring of the lake instead of building out from it. That and the fact that it's in the center of a crater lake, so the walls are fairly sheer. There's like 4 or 5 different roads that are cut that go up the side of the crater, but that's about it.
Okay.
So, and from being here for a time, what do you do anything like as an occupation, or are you just an adventurer?
He is usually like a hired bodyguard, but he is very picky about the clientele he chooses.
You would get hired a lot to escort the cargo, the freight ships as they come back from the island. There are pirates. The lake is small enough, and by pirates, I don't mean the traditional. They come out of the dark and they attack. Oh boy, well, I don't want to know.
No, we
They after the
swashbuckler.
booty.
Pirate.
Buckling a
I
swash.
just looked at Cassie's and my eyes met because we were just having the same thought of, that's where
Pirate.
There we go. But yeah, they're basically just, I guess you'd call them thieves. But they basically run other boats, and they will try to capture the cargo ships as they're trying to make it to shore. And there's not much other than there's not much law enforcement on the water. In the cities, there's local constabulary, but they are they're pretty much overworked, underpaid people who are just there to try and keep riots from happening for the most part. Everything else is just about everyone guards their own stuff, everyone takes care of their own problems, people settle disputes interpersonally a lot. Duels on the street are not uncommon in any way, shape, or form. So it is all about what the might makes right, but there is just a lot of people who are willing to take those risks even in that situation. So, what about Liz? What about your character?
Probably relatively similar. Has lived there for maybe like 2 or 3 years. I assume that the Pearl operates here as well.
Mm-hmm.
She works for the Pearl. She's a thief. She works for the Pearl.
It's odd. The of all the gemstones, which are what all the different all the mob affiliates are named after. There's like the diamond, the pearl, the ruby, the emerald. All the different local mob organizations almost act like law enforcement because they all have their own territories and people pay them for protection, quote unquote. But in this, it's a weird reversal of fortunes because they got paid for protection money, but because there's always these gang wars going on, they literally have to now guard their territories, and they don't get the chance to like milk these people for more money as much as they'd like to, because they're literally running around defending their territory from other mobs. And so it's kind of like, okay, you're not really police force. You're not going to go investigate a murder, but you're not going to also let this shop get knocked over because then the shop owner is going to be like, why am I paying you?
Yeah.
And they could either kill the shop owner to make an example of him, but then they'd end up killing all the shop owners. And that doesn't work either.
That is bad for the economy.
Capitalism. It sucks. So the Pearl definitely is in full force here. Their normal business model is a little bit more expanded here. They don't do as much with the drug trade as they normally do. They're mainly into, and also because there's no real law enforcement, there's no such thing as smuggling. So they're mainly into things like, obtaining exotic cargoes for the best prices and everything like that. That's one of the things that is very prominent about the Twins. It is pretty much the place to go for exotic ingredients and exotic spell components. There's basically a situation, not a saying as, if you need like an Axbeak's beak, if you need a Boulet's teeth, if you need the skin from a giant underground Rothy or a Wyvern's sting, a Griffin's wing feathers, there's only one place to go, and that's the Grand Bazaar on Balas. Because all those creatures are very native to here. So, what about you, Cassie?
I just came up with this idea, so I'm running with it.
Roll.
I think she would have hopped on a pirate ship and just kind of shown up here. She's been in hiding for a while. She used to work for the Astor family.
Oh.
And decided that wasn't working out, so she's kind of in hiding.
Does she know what happened to the Astor family yet?
Probably not. She probably took off like way before that. And just been kind of like hopping from place to place. And she's like, there's not really a law here.
Nope.
Therefore, they're not going to find me here.
Yep. And what is she running from? Did you decide that?
Angry Fathers.
Oh, yay. Angry Fathers are the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, what we're looking at right now is everyone is in the capital city. Sam, your character, of course, you deal a lot in stuff like the exotic goods that people would trade for, pelts, hides, teeth, everything that, these things are used for spell components. These things are used for making magic items. You basically have a lot of choices of what you can sell these items for and who you can sell these items to, which makes it a very lucrative business to be in because you get to pretty much, depending on how much there is for each exotic item, you get to pretty much name your prices. And that means that there's not as much necessary to hunt to make that type of profit. There's a lot of risk involved in the individual hunts, but the rewards are pretty much exponential. So you can have like one good hunt and you can set yourself up for months if you don't want to come back into the city. So I was getting the kind of the concept from your character that they may not like the urban environment too much.
Yeah, they much more prefer the wilds. They travel into the city to do business, get jobs, but they would much rather spend time out in the wilds, out and amongst nature, than in the hustle and bustle of the city.
Got it.
Unless, of course, a fight breaks out, in which case it's entertainment.
It's like it's all hustle and bustle then. All right. Cassie, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. Your image for your character. Did you ever get one?
Yes, I just built
forgot.
myself in Hero Forge
I just
for this reason.
Gotcha. I just brought up the map and I suddenly saw that your character didn't have an image still. So I was like, I need to fix that.
Yep, I noticed that when I logged in, and I was like, should do that.
I should do that.
So I made a Hero Forge real quick.
That's good. Hero Forge, ladies and gentlemen, is a wonderful tool for making characters when you don't have one ready yet.
Okay.
All right. So, you guys are basically, in town, and did any of you create linked backstories? I don't think anyone did.
And so now.
Perfect. That's wonderful. So all of you are basically
Accordia is
Yeah.
from used to work for the Asters. That means she's from Elatris, right?
Yes, that would be, yeah.
That is also where Idris is from originally. So it's possible that she may have heard of him, or they've crossed paths, or something.
She
He
could have
has
been,
a
Probably.
would you might have come here on basically Idris's recommendation, as it were? Like if you
Yeah,
want-
I mean,
if you want to disappear, I know a place you can disappear.
yeah. No, I'd be cool with that.
cool.
We could be friends.
All right.
Nice.
So, Cassie, can we kind of change things around to where, like, you said you just got here, right?
Yeah, but I mean, flexible just got here.
No. I like that, actually. So the basic situation is you sent Idra communication before you left, and you didn't come straight here. You meandered around a little bit. You kind of visited places while you had money and did some sightseeing / seeing the worlds. So you got out and about.
Oh yeah.
And then you basically meandered your way back to the twins and to Balas. You sent Idra a message before you got here, so when you got off the airship and you got off the ferry boat that brought you inland, you basically were met by Idris on the dock. The first thing you guys decided was you were going to go get something to freaking eat and something to drink, because Cassie, you were stuck on an airship with crappy food for like 2 weeks. So you basically went looking for the nearest place to actually find something to sustain yourself with. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, it just would easily I know a place. Come with me.
Perfect. I'm starving.
Idris, do you have an idea of what that place is?
It would be a kind of small local eatery.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tavern-ish, but with like outdoor seating, like real nice outdoor seating,
Mm-hmm.
kind of lush, kind of a green canopy. It's basically a tavern with really good food.
A tavern with okay, gotcha, perfect. So you two go there sorry, hang on a second. Stop it. Give me the
I don't
character sheet.
want
There
to.
it is. You have to. But yeah, so you're there, and Accordia, you've been traveling around a lot. You obviously, you've been trying to get your bearings and decide what you're going to do for quite a while. Do you have any idea are you literally just meandering in life right now?
Yeah. This is the off year, like just
Romspringer?
graduated high school. Yeah, just got out of high school. Don't know if I want to start college yet, so I'm gonna backpack across Europe.
Is this your Regency European tour?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Wow.
Perfect. So yeah, you've been just bopping around. Now the reason you hadn't gone to the twins is because everyone knows what the twins represent. They represent, risk. They represent high adventure. They represent, lots of people try and go to the twins to make their fortune, because there's all kinds of rumors about, gold just laying on the ground in the middle of the jungle. Of course, that's how everything on the twins stays well fed. Because people come in and they try and go establish the latest mine in the middle of the mountains, and they end up getting eaten by bullywugs. So it's a lovely time to be had for sure. So you didn't know really if you were looking for that much adventure, or if you were just gonna come by and see Idris for a bit and take off. So as you guys are, you guys sit down at the table, you place your order. And you're getting drinks. Idris, what does your character look like?
So he is about my skin complexion. Has kind of silver hair done up in dreads, but the sides are shaved, kind of like an undercut, but they kind of go down and around. So it's almost like a dreadlock mohawk, but long. That he keeps like in a kind of braid going down the center of his head and down his back.
Mm-hmm.
He has some what look like tribal markings, also kind of silverish, dotted along underneath his eyes and across his nose and around like the center of his forehead.
The most painful places to get tattoos.
Yeah. He does not have much facial hair, but just like a bit of a goatee, earrings on one ear, two in the I'm forgetting what this place is called.
Cartilage.
Cartilage, thank you. Two in the cartilage, three on the lobe. He wears a lot of black, but it's the under tunic is kind of a dark gray color, black waistcoat, black, trousers and boots, and a black overcoat, like duster. Think Mihawk from One Piece. He has a pair of holsters strapped him, one on the left thigh, and another one across his kind of midsection. And both of them are loaded with what look like an odd sort of gun called pepper boxes. And across his back is strapped a long kind of curved blade. He also wears a hat. Not quite as big and ostentatious as Mihawk, but very similar in style. Also all black.
All black.
And he also he's not carrying him today, but walking alongside him is about, he's 3 feet long, stands about 2 feet tall, like starry black with kind of these silvery blue markings along the side and along the tail, deep purple eyes, licking its long tongue along its muzzle, a drummer cat cub.
A drummer cat cub.
But
Yeah,
does it
his
look
n-
like Razzie?
I gotta Google it.
No, this one is actually
describe
short
it,
haired.
Sam.
It's actually short. It looks more like a panther with like weird, like almost alien antenna.
They're adorable.
And his name, and Accordia would have met him before. His name is Roland.
Roland. That's so cute.
So after the appropriate 15 to 5 hours of scritching Roland and giving Roland all the attention.
Yeah.
How big is he, by the way?
He's a cub, so he's only like 2 feet tall, 3 feet long.
So he's small.
Adult Dormer cats, yeah, he's small. Adult Dormer cats are like 7 feet long, 4 feet tall.
So medium.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So you guys are sitting there. It's been a while since you've seen each other, so you're doing the whole catching up thing, which is preoccupying a lot of your attention because you're both excited to see each other. As you're sitting there and you're making the discussing things like that. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What does Accordia look like?
I was going to say, what does Accordia look like?
Well, as I just created her in Hero Forge, because I had no idea. She's got kind of ashy, light, pale gray skin. Maybe she looks unhealthy if she was human, but like being that she's not, it's
Totally
whatever.
fine.
Jet black hair. She's got kind of like a really big, messy ponytail of curly black hair, kind of like Doc Ock from Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Not quite that obnoxious, but in that vibe.
Not
Here
quite
for it.
that obnoxious, but pretty obnoxious.
Well, yeah, she's got like the whole beehive. I don't have that kind of hairspray.
I don't have that kind of hairspray.
No, man, my hair wouldn't do that. Her eyes are just a flat silver gray. She kind of wears a pirate coat, but it's more noble-ish than like truly piratey pirate. Like it's very well made. It might be a little old at this point. Leather pants, the thigh-high boots with the heels. She's got swords strapped to her waist, kind of like tucked into the coat, but hanging out at the bottom just a little bit because the coat's not that long. And she walks with a cane that has a very elaborate, let's go with a dragon head on it.
Okay.
She's quite proud of.
And well, they should be.
I should also mention, as far as Idris goes, and I forgot to describe this, his eyes are all black sclera with kind of like bright silver irises.
So yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
I
So-
love fun time.
So, Liz,
Yes.
your character has been here for a few months. The Pearl is very active, but most of the workings the Pearl is doing right now are not in your direct line of work. It's a lot of enforcer jobs, a lot of collection jobs, nothing that you're normally involved with. There's some espionage stuff that you've been doing, some spying on some of the other, the mobs that have adjacent territory to yours. But for the most part, you have a lot of time on your hands. They don't call you up for a lot of stuff. Occasionally, because one of the bad
I
things.
feel occasionally they send her on an enforcer job because she can be intimidating in a very quiet sort of manner.
Yeah, and you also can do things like you can scout the place out first to make sure there's nothing going on. So you do probably functions for it, but they do know where your specialties lie. So they know you're, being that you're level 10 and everything. They know you're a valuable resource, and they don't want to squander that on just any ad hoc job that they could get basically anyone else to do.
Yeah.
So you've been having a lot of free time. Okay. So you guys, sorry, I'm looking at our chat. But you guys are been spending a lot of time kind of sightseeing. Like, you've only been here for a few months. So you've gone out on a lot of excursions. You came back from a recent excursion where you just basically went on a tour of the girdle. You'd never seen it before, and it is an incredibly impressive sight. Usually people tour it via airship because being on the ground around the girdle is stupidly insanely dangerous. You actually got to watch a orc tribe do a rite of manhood, rite of passage, as several of the teen orcs began to try and ride stones up into the girdle and cross the girdle on foot.
Oosh.
They have nothing but their wits and a rope and a grappling hook. That's all they get. And if they make it across alive, they are marked to be leaders of their people. They're not required to do this at all. This is for orcs who want to try and lead their tribes. So it often it's done only like once a year, and they gather all the aspirants together, and that's the only other thing they can do. They can choose whether they're going to help their fellows or whether they're going to try and be the only one who comes across. So that's the only benefit they get to all going out together. It also could be a drawback. But you actually got to see one of those start out. It is fairly terrifying because they literally near the gauntlet, things are constantly moving. Things are constantly crashing to ground and going up into the air. And even as they're going up in the air, some boulders are smashed right out of the sky as a larger one comes down. So out of the like 10 or 15 people you saw that were gathered around the edge of the gauntlet, when they all ran in, you could only make out like 2 or 3 who were still actually on stones and going up into the gauntlet, into the girdle itself. So it is obviously not for the faint of heart. But so you came back off of that tour, and you're basically, you have the rest of the day off. You got back down off the boat, and there was a couple on the boat on the dock who were the young ladies. The thing that struck you the most about her, that you found the most interesting, was the simple fact that she's one of you.
Yes.
And you don't see many fetchlings. They are incredibly rare in general, but here on the twins, they are even more rare because fetchlings are much more adept at living in areas that have that are not as chaotic as this. They like settings that are more pastoral. So this is not a normal habitat for them. You're an exception because of what you do for a living.
Yes.
And so you followed them just out of curiosity. Not really tailing them, but just keeping them in earshot, over trying to overhear what they're talking about. Obviously, they're talking very, very quickly back and forth to each other, talking about where they've been, what they've been doing, everything like that. They went straight to a restaurant. You know it. It's a very small, nice mom and pop type bistro type situation. So you got a table yourself. I'm assuming that you do your best to cover up most of the time. Just because you don't want to be recognized a lot, no matter what.
Yes, it also helps with part of the type of what since she's also a fletchling. She's a wisp fletchling,
Mm-hmm.
so there are times where she seems slightly more insubstantial and vaguely translucent.
So you basically you're kind of
so
head to toe.
She covers up as much as she can to hopefully kind of hide when you can maybe kind of see through her chest all of a sudden.
You can see through. Look, you can see right through my hand. But they've been very much back and forth. Just obviously very much enjoying catching up. So it was really easy for you to do this, and oddly enough, you almost are feeling kind of nostalgic. How was your relationship with your family?
I mean, she turned to a life of crime, so I'm going to say not great.
Who knows? You could have been part of a crime family.
No. Mom and Dad are definitely disappointed in their oldest child who fell in with a bad crowd.
Don't run with those kids. They're a bad scene.
She ran with scissors and liked it.
What's that you have? A knife!
Knife! No!
No!
Quite literally, no.
Here's another.
Here's another. Now run with the points pointed right at you. But anyway, so
No, you flail them about.
you flail them about, slashing violently at the air around you. So yeah, you.
Spend them now.
But you're spending your time pretty much observing them, and you didn't have the greatest home life, but at the same time, those were the only other of your people that you'd ever really seen. Probably one of the other reasons you had left is because there's so few of you. Your parents had been in correspondence with some of your more distant related cousins to try and find you a match.
Yeah, no, Fran. She was like, "Oh, you're trying to betroth me? Nah. Peace."
That's enough of that shit.
We love a running from a betrothed marriage.
Yeah, it didn't
Trope.
get
That's
that.
That's trope.
Oh shit. Okay, there we go. Sorry, Google call kind of froze. It didn't get that far. Your mom had started talking to you about it and trying to talk the whole idea up. I don't know what your response would have been.
No.
No, yeah. So, but she kept on bringing it up, so it made it quite apparent that she was being very
Gung-ho
determined
about
about this. Yes. Because she wants grandkids.
You're marrying your
Oh
cousin
my
Reginald.
You're marrying your cousin
Ugh.
Reginald. Because I want cross-eyed grandchildren.
Sweet home
The
Alabama.
big old underbite too.
Sweet old Bela.
Come on, we were all thinking it. We were all thinking it.
Where the skies are blue.
So, but you've been doing that mainly. That was the initial incentive to go your own way.
Yep.
And pretty much, the life of crime was the quickest way to get money to get out of there, which led you down the path you're on now. However, you became very good at what you did, and now you're, like I said, you're in a situation where people are paying you money, but you're really not having to do much. So it's kind of like a really great reprieve. The only real drawback is on the twins. There's not a lot of luxury and not a lot of comfort stuff. But it's like I said, a life of adventure can definitely be had here if you want it.
Yeah.
And so you're basically kind of taking some time off from your time off to just be in the presence of someone that may understand you somewhat. And you're trying to decide whether or not you actually want to bother to try and introduce yourself or not. At the same time, Cecil, Mr. Redmayne, you are in town. You've been doing some. What type of work do you mainly do?
Probably considering how pseudo-lucrative the business of certain creatures are, he probably assists with tracking and hunting parties.
Gotcha.
It's what seems to make the most sense for him.
And that is definitely one of the larger industries that is based here out of the Twins. It's not just like exotic meats and furs. It is also, like I said, a lot of parts for spell components and enchanted items come from here. There's also a very large population of craftsmen who make their home here because it makes it cheaper to resource these items. So there is a large contingent of skilled artisans that make their home on the Twins itself. So it's kind of almost oxymoronic because there is, these are educated, skilled tradesmen, and they're living pretty much on a frontier life.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean it's a great way for them to be close to get their needs met for all the different items they need, and it's almost like a badge of honor to be to live on the Twins. So, so you've been in town. What, you just basically pretty much unloaded your latest catches?
Probably.
So you are just rife with coin right now. You are, bringing all that stuff into market is no small feat. You usually line up your buyer well before you come into town because you want to offload this as quickly as possible for two very obvious reasons. Number one, heavier than fuck. Number two, it's really freaking valuable, and you're the only person you have to guard it. So it's like you're staying awake 24/7 because you don't want to be ripped off. And that that's not something that anyone can maintain. So you just woke up after having you usually take the day after you make your sale off and just catch up on rest as best you can. You just woke up. The inn you're staying at is right across the street from this restaurant, and you are freaking starving. And you can smell the food when you walk out of the inn. So it's just like one of those scenes from an old Looney Tunes movie. You're floating across the street, being led by your nose.
Like, oh, fuck, that smells good. All right, fuck it, let's go.
Just some floppy bacon.
So some floppy bacon.
No, we're not doing this again. No.
I almost
not
sent y'all a
again.
picture of the big old plate of floppy bacon at the trailer.
Oh, that's evil. First off, that's evil.
So-
I have a weakness for food. How dare you?
Before
We have a nacho table.
Before we bring Cecil into the restaurant, Liz, what does your character look like other than a big bundle of wrapping?
So what little skin you would actually be able to see is very similar. It's not quite as ashy gray. It's more it veers on white, but again, it's really unhealthy if she was human. The hair is out. It is braided. It is also kind of pure white, but it has kind of like gray streaks in it, and it's very clearly like natural, so it's part of who she is. She is in pretty much all dark, blacks, grays, boots that come up to her knee, leather pants. I already had that before you said it, Cassie.
It's fine. It's fine. We have a type, and it's yes.
Yes.
We
There's
built the same character.
we did. We built very similar characters, just in different classes, and it's great.
I like
One
that
of
we're opposites, though.
yes, I do like that we're opposites. From one of the boots, there's like the handle. You can see like the handle of a dagger sticking out. The leather pants she wears. It's actually why I'm working on this. It's because it's actually part of her cosplay. In addition to wanting to wear it to Ren Fair, she wears this. She wears like a black like cloak too. So, but like it's kind of open right now, so you can see underneath. There's like a black top with longer sleeves and gloves to cover her hands, and then there's a set of it's the only color that she wears is a set of green bracers. And then over top of the black top is this like gray lace. Looks like it should be a coat, but it's all completely connected along the top, and then the bottom splits out, kind of be like a half skirt.
It's a
going
serape.
around. It's not a serape.
It's totally a serape.
No. And she has like
mantle.
a mantle-esque,
Serape.
my dude. And she's got a black belt around her waist, and there are two more daggers on either side of her hips, and there's like a small pouch that would probably presumably be where she keeps coins.
Gotcha.
Oh, and before I forget, she doesn't have it up right now. She does have like a mask that she would pull up just to still cover more of her.
Mm-hmm.
It's down right now, and you can see her eyes, and she has a heterochromia.
Oh.
So one eye is a very piercing blue,
Mm-hmm.
And the other eye is pitch black.
Wow. Okay. So, Sam, as
Yes.
your character, as Cecil makes his way into the restaurant, looking for it, instantly scanning around for a table, yeah, basically, Este is kind of sitting, not right at the door, but a couple of tables off the door. So, what does Este see as you walk in?
So Cecil stands about 6'5". He's got more of like an athletic climber's build, so wider shoulders, a lot more upper body strength. He's wearing more of breastplate styled armor that looks like it's made out of almost like a white chitin, with the edges of said chitin going from more of a gray to a slight tinge of red. Lot of like his clothes are made out of rugged leather, obviously showing signs of being made for more of a winter environment, but lacking the overjacket, as it's probably not winter here currently. The other thing that kind of stands out, other than the kind of short, well-kept, spiky auburn hair, is the blade that he keeps currently on his back. It appears the blade does not seem to have any sort of handguard, but seems to be about 5.5 to 6 feet in length.
The blade is a handguard.
And appears both it and the scabbard seem to be made entirely of carved bone.
The blade. Okay, cool.
Interesting.
So
And wrapped in like red leather cloth.
Gotcha. So as you come in, the one of the waitresses running around tables says, "Find a table anywhere. We don't have many open." And she kind of looks over right at where Este is sitting. He's like, "You may have to share. There's a seat open over there."
You know what? That's fair. I know y'all are busy this morning.
So you
Just
walk
kind
up.
of look over. It's
So
like
Este,
yes.
you did notice that she pointed to the chair that's right at your table.
Yeah. She just she observes Cecil for a moment, kind of seeming to take stock of him. And if he's looking at her, he'd actually notice that she looks like she would probably stand at like a medium height. But something about her, as you look at her, makes her almost look like she's smaller than that.
I will say as well, for
Just a little squish.
anyone who's been local to here and would probably know the people from around here, probably know him as one of the hunters constantly going around.
Nah, bro, I've been here for 2 months.
Okay, so you may not.
Idris would probably recognize you.
Probably.
Or at least by reputation.
And also
Yeah.
know that very similar to one of the characters that one of our other cast members plays, he is Asimar.
Asimar are really not directly noticeable, except for the fact that they're fucking gorgeous.
I mean, that's fair.
Sometimes some of them glow, but not all of them.
It's mainly his eyes, which are like a
That's another
blue
giveaway
green.
there. That's kind of normal. Lavender gold, glowing with the eerie inner light. That's noticeable.
The
There's
glow
always
with the
that.
inner light is accurate.
I mean,
ironically enough.
the little light thing.
So,
Listen, light is the only magic I have. Light is normal.
we're gonna normalize light again, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's
We're
going on.
Normalize
Normalize
the
the light. It's handy.
So, do you introduce yourself as you sit down?
You would. It's like, haven't encountered you around town yet.
No, I've been off on an excursion to Tsugato.
I can understand that. I go on Planos. I'm Cecil.
She'll look for a moment, reach out to Este.
He accidentally has a bit of a very strong grip.
Doesn't
It's not
bother
on
her.
purpose.
doesn't seem to bother her. You would notice that like you could see too much of your hand around her hand.
Like, you are almost see-through.
At times, it is a bit of a side effect of my place.
What's that? Which one's that? I don't think I've met anyone like you before.
Accordia,
It-
make me a perception check.
Okay. Let's see if I can.
Oh, it's
figure
not
out how to
perception in
do
this
that.
game. I forgot.
No, it's like a peek check or something funky like that.
I'm going to find out right now.
Perception does exist here.
Boo!
Peekaboo, I see you.
Whee!
Because I do have a perception thingy.
Yeah, we do have perception.
Perception
Yeah.
is done then. Use perception.
How do I roll? There it is. Perception check. Roll a dice. Did that roll a dice?
Yes,
I don't
it
even know
did.
if that did anything.
You
Did it?
got a 26.
I don't know if that's good or not because the numbers in this are bonkers.
The
Banana
numbers are
pants.
bonkers. That is not an understatement. But no, that is a decent perception check. As you are kind of like, as you are talking to
Idris.
Idris, as you're talking to Idris, you are kind of you sat facing the door as is your habit, and so you're kind of looking towards the door area, and as you're doing so, you just for a moment catch full view of Este's face, and you know instantly that there is another fetchling present.
Ooh. How long have you been here?
She's at another table, so you'd have to get up and go over.
No, I'm talking to Edges. How long have you been here? Some interesting people.
I've been here for about 2.5 years now.
Huh?
Yes,
Oh.
there's quite a collection of individuals here.
That's one over there. She kind of looks
Really?
like me. Like a darker one.
Fetchling.
But... Yes.
And it just will turn and will take a look and will, that is interesting. I do
She's
not
not
think
from
I've ever
mine.
seen two of you in the same place before.
No, me either, except for at family gatherings. And I've been avoiding those like the plague lately, of course.
Ah.
But
From the accents, I don't think you guys come from the same place.
nah.
No, but I just have this idea in my head. They're like super, super, super distant cousins.
Oh yeah, probably almost all of them are. That's one of the drawbacks to being a rare race. One quick thing. Where is in the actual game? Do you guys know where that your race is actually from? And what their lineage is?
Their lineage, they're originally from the Shadow Plane.
The Shadow Plane. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So, Este, make me a perception check. Even better.
Ooh.
Damn.
So, you see that the two people you were following in, the other fetchling and their companion, are now both turned and looking at you.
She'll finish with Cecil first. I'm what's called a fetchling, a wisp fetchling. I can be a little insubstantial at times, to put it simply.
Well, I'm sure that's plenty useful, depending on the situation.
It certainly can be in my line of work.
What I wouldn't do for some of the creatures I face to be just unseen.
And she'll hold up a finger, and she'll turn, kind of look at the other two. Anything amiss?
Completely. No, darling, not at all.
Hmm? Oh,
Idris will just tip his hat.
Wait a minute. I've seen you around town. Don't think we've
And
met.
I've-
No, darling, I'm sure we would have met.
No, not you. Not you. Him.
Oh.
Completely.
Me?
Yes,
that's
you.
rude.
Well, I have been here for quite some time. Are you, by any chance, the hunter Cecil?
Aye, that's me.
I have heard of you. You have quite the reputation.
What kind of reputation we talking about here?
I don't know, but
Well,
I'd like to
you
know.
You are a very proficient and skilled swordsman, from what I understand.
Oh.
Okay, that reputation. Perfect.
Were you expecting him to mention a
Was-
different reputation?
Yes, is there another?
I
Well,
love reputations.
I did have one person decide to openly challenge me to a duel, and it was rather a mess. They were a lot less resilient than I thought they were.
Ah,
That seems like a problem on their part and not yours.
It
I would
really
agree.
was.
Wait, I'm confused. It was their problem they were skilled.
they were not as skilled.
They were not skilled. Oh, right. I missed something.
Well, it most people aren't used to being hit with a blade.
Most people aren't being used to being
And-
a blade, just in general.
It's
That
It-
is true.
different. The reason I'm such a good hunter, I imbue this with magic, and
Oh.
Ah, you are
Cleave.
Magus.
I see.
Fascinating.
they're quite common in the mountains. That and a few other kinds. It helps. You can't really afford to not be durable out there. You'll be eaten alive in days.
Of
Hmm.
course.
Makes
Oh,
sense.
Wolves, if you're lucky. Remoras are nasty up in the mountains.
Oh, I'm sure.
As you're saying that, the same waitress who asked you to sit at that table, she kind of looks at you and goes like, "Do you all know each other?"
No, but
Oh,
I'd
we-
like to.
Oh,
we
would
are
you
just now
Would
meeting
you all
for
do me
the
a
first
favor?
time.
Would you all just share this table so I can get that table bus? We are really packed.
By all
Oh,
means.
definitely.
I am not
What?
opposed to that.
She actually runs over and she starts helping move all the plates over and everything like that. And then when someone comes over and then she starts seeing the table and like before they even get the table cleaned off, there's people sitting down at it. And so she's like, "Thank you so much. I'll buy you all a round of drinks."
That is not a problem.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, love.
She's like,
As,
she's like,
as
"Don't worry,
Idris
I don't
sits
actually pay
down-
for them." And she walks off.
as it just sits and he's kind of staring at Este, I am sorry. I hope that I am not being rude here, but I simply have to ask: are you yourself, or maybe do you have some relation to the undead?
Hmm?
No.
You are translucent in places, and I have a little bit of experience with. And you see him just kind of look off to the side. No, it is fine. Yes, yeah, it was okay. And then turns back with the undead.
And she's gonna lean towards Cass. Does he do that very often?
Occasionally. It's not incredibly often, but enough to notice.
Fair. No, my people are from originally from the Shadow Plane. So
Ah,
different variations. You are one of the brighter ones.
Yes, I am. And there'll be kind of like sparkles around her face a little bit. Just some of the glow will like
Oh,
eke out just a tad.
I
My
forgot
people-
that you could do that too.
My people are referred, my kind are referred to as the Wisp. So we seem smaller and more insubstantial than we actually are.
I think I have read a little bit about your people. I do not, but I have never met one of you in person. Fascinating. Enchanted.
So just as you say that, you hear like a chair being dragged, and a chair comes like swooping around and like goes into the empty spot, at the table, or an empty spot at the table, and then you see a 2-foot tall humanoid climb up in the chair. He kind of looks at you, looks you all over, and he says, I think you'll do. I think.
Do you do that a lot? The
Think?
thinking, I mean.
Think. No, constantly, I think. But now
Do you
I'm
think
thinking
it's
that you'll do.
stuttering a lot?
I'm not stuttering. I'm repeating. There's a difference.
That is
Reminds me of the rabbit from that one story.
Oh, the Alice in the Underworld.
Yes.
right. The one that wore the what is it called?
pocket watch.
The watch, the pocket watch around his neck because it is too big.
Why would a rabbit need a pocket watch? That's absolutely ridiculous.
Because he's
It
running
is a
late.
fairy
I
tale.
was running late.
Fairy tales. Who has time for fairy tales? We're in the real world. Now, I'm Timmy McTimmison. For those of you, it's very obvious he is a halfling.
Mhm.
And he kind of looks at you. He's like, I am hoping you will be exactly what I need. He says,
That-
you seem to be a group of adventurers. Am I wrong?
I do love a good adventure.
We are mostly just meeting for the first time, except for, and we'll point to Accordia.
yes.
We
Lucas
know each
and I
other
go
from.
Way
Well, then
back.
there's already an established
Yeah.
relationship there. And these two obviously got along famously. They were at a table by themselves, and then they joined you, which means there's a familiarity forming here. And all
To be
that
fair, I
means
make friends with everyone.
that is
I just want to
wonderful.
draw a crowd.
The reason that I'm asking, is not just out of some idle curiosity. I, you see, represent an organization. And that organization provides a necessary service to some of the more influential arcanists of our time. That service is acquiring incredibly rare magical artifices for their personal collections. And I need the services of some skilled, well-equipped, and absolutely dependable adventurers. And I'm afraid that I have been just hitting wall after wall. He says, so I'm hoping...
What
I'm hoping-
organization are you referring to?
A private organization.
There are
that's
many
normal
such
around
organizations in
here.
the city.
The question is,
everyone
what exactly
spoke
are
at
you
once. I have
looking
no
for?
idea. Well, that comes with time and trust, and we have to establish both. And Miss, what were you saying?
There are many such organizations in this city.
Yes.
I
yes.
require to know which one it is, because I do
As
not
do I.
believe my bosses would appreciate me working for another.
Oh, no. We're not affiliated with any criminal organizations. Well, there's no real law here, so I guess there's no real criminality. We are not affiliated with any of the gems directly, although we have worked with them before.
You missed down who hasn't.
I have not.
Me.
He's like, wow, that's a rarity. 50% of an entire group of people who have not worked in some way or fashion for the gems.
More than
Well, I
likely you
did
have,
this,
but
yes, yeah.
indirectly or you didn't know.
He is
I'm
more
very
than likely
picky
right.
about I'm
Yeah, I
very
don't
picky
think
about the
so.
contracts I take.
No,
I-
understood. I
Used
can
to work for a very influential family.
Oh, well,
Yes, you did, didn't you?
all of that is wonderful. It indicates that someone trusted you with some level of, on some level, with very, very intimate things about a family of influence, and that is a wonderful thing to know. Now, I would like to know if you would all like to hear a brief story as an introduction to what I'm going to need you to look for.
I do love a good story.
They'll just pull out a notebook. Well, go on.
This is
Idris sits back and Roland kind of leaps up into Idris's lap and he's very noticeably like much larger than should be like normal to sit in the lap and will just start stroking the fur on his
You are
back.
Roland. It's good to see you again, buddy.
Roland has his like paws over his shoulder and he's on the arm of the chair and he is making biscuits on the back of the chair, but he's literally just shredding the wood.
Yes.
I have not seen a creature like that before.
Yes, he is a very, very good boy. He is this is Roland. He is a Dwemer cat. But he is a baby still. He is just a cub.
That's a baby?
Oh, yes.
I must get big then.
Quite large.
Oh, yes.
Well, I trust that he is a noble and well acquainted with adventure, companion.
He is a bit of a coward when it comes to the fighting and all of that.
He growls and thumps his head into you.
What? It is true. You know it as well as I do.
He's like, well, that is, I guess, for your own affair to decide. However, I wanted to tell you the story of how my master came to lose his current device that he is searching for. My master is an arcanist of some repute and power. He specializes in the uses of magics that pertain with travel. And he was working on a very late stages of an artifact that would allow him to make journeys of countless distance in a mere blink of an eye. A lot of people have teleportation circles, and there's all the time and investment with those, and it takes a very powerful arcanist to set the spells, and it's usually a small fortune. The device my master was creating is a very simple device, which could be used by just about anyone, and can take you to any place you require. Now, that all being said, it's not cheap, and it's the only one he has, because it is the prototype. He says, the main issue he had was he was testing it. And during the testing, he had a bit of a fumble fingers moment. It fell from his hand in the middle of the execution of the device. When it hit the ground, the device activated prematurely, and since no one was holding it, it just went.
Interesting.
So
My master did several
Tricky.
long
Tricky.
divinations and managed to ascertain that this device is in a mountain here in Belas.
Well, you're in luck then. Mountainous regions are one of my specialties.
Yes, but I did not say on a mountain.
On, in, I grew up in both.
All right. Well, that's good to know and wonderful to hear. It seems like fortune may have favored me this instant. It says, now, granted, this device is incredibly costly. So, obviously, you would be rewarded in return on a commensurate level, because my master does want the device returned. We would take certain insurances to make sure that you were going to deliver the device. There is trust, and then there is foolishness. He says, but other than that, the way and means you acquire the device is up to you. My master is willing to provide transportation into the mountains, and as near as he can with the divinations he has managed to to produce, to get you as close to the device as he possibly can. But once he gets you to that point, other than being able to hopefully scry on you and keep track of you, we're not going to be able to have much direct influence and interaction with you, as the mountains themselves, and you may know about these, the Deathslayer Peaks, they have certain attributes that make magic not exactly foolproof in them.
You're not wrong. Some of the ores deeper in do tend to
And the sheer volume of crystals that are throughout the mountains tend to interfere with magic, and the fact that unfortunately a lot of those crystals are flawed just because of the nature of the peaks themselves means that there's a lot of magic pools of raw magical energy that are created by the association of these flawed crystals in the ground. So it's going to be very risky to get you any closer than he's going to teleport you into, and it'll be very hard for him to scry to see you and to monitor you to make sure that you're safe. So we won't be able to directly influence, which is why we're looking for a party of well-seasoned adventurers rather than going out and finding any little group of adventurers to go out and take this as their first bite of the adventuring bug.
So it sounds like the area that you would be sending us to would be quite unstable. Am I correct in my assertion?
As unstable. Unstable is an odd term to use in Balas, but I can tell you that the area we're sending you to is quite dangerous.
Hmm.
I do love danger.
The Death Peak Mountains are homes to a number of clans of giants who are very xenophobic and do not like intruders into their realm.
Well, you have a name like Death Peak. You kind of expect it to be a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, I think that the giants make it more dangerous than it has to be honest. And it would be such a godsend if someone could negotiate a treaty with them, but they're very standoffish.
Hmm.
I don't think I've met a giant. Could be.
I once knew a storm giantess. She was quite lovely, and it really is amazing to only be as tall as the arch of someone's foot.
But you do happen to be quite smaller than. Well, small. You are small.
Look, the giants
I think
may
I
not
know.
like other people, but if you respect their traditions and speak their language, it helps.
Oh, I would no doubt that would help if you can get them to not kill you long enough to understand that you're speaking their language.
That is fair.
But all that being said, this could be a very lucrative adventure for you, and I can tell you that the organization that I represent has many such arcanists who are looking for other devices, not necessarily that have been lost as my master did, but devices that they have been searching for. And a lot of them need people on the ground to go recover them. Because unfortunately, a lot of these noble casters have hit that certain age where it's not exactly the best idea for them to go tramping along by themselves.
Hmm.
Some of them might want to come with you, but most of them will be sufficient if you take on Gaius's to make sure you return the items.
Which brings me to my next question.
Mhm.
You mentioned insurances or assurances to make sure that we bring back the device you speak of. What kind of assurances are you referring to?
Gaius's and curses if you choose to try and keep said item.
Sounds fair.
The Gaius is to try and compel you to come back, but since Gaius's can possibly be resisted, you will also be given curses that will only be fulfilled if you choose not to return the item.
Gas or a curse.
Yes,
This
a
is what I
Gaius,
don't
a
know.
Gaius
Looks
is a
off
compulsion, and a curse is literally what it sounds like. Something horrible will happen to you. My
Oh,
master's
I-
very, very, very prevalent to rains of acid. I don't understand him sometimes.
He kind of looks off to the side. No, I don't like that either. And then turns back to the halfling.
But
like,
again, that is only if you choose not to fulfill the contract.
which brings me to my third question. Payment.
Ah,
What exactly will you be paying us to go upon this task, quest, mission?
So that is a very good question, and I think that's going to take a little bit more time to answer, because at this point, if you are willing to talk about numbers, I think we should actually take this conversation to a local barrister that I have put on retainer in order to show you the form, the contract, explain to you what the Gaius will be and what the curse will be, and we can actually talk numbers in that location. I would really rather not say such amounts in public company.
Fair
Wow,
enough.
yeah.
Then you can
a-
write down a decent number because my work is not cheap.
I would not think anyone of... When I approached you, I had already been able to suss some of the items that you have upon you that are of a high enough quality to make me understand that you are all seasoned professionals. He kind of like taps a little pendant on his chest. He says, my master provides me with certain devices that allow me to help ascertain whether people will be able to meet the rigorous criteria he has set forth for people he wants to undertake these adventures.
Your master makes sure that you are quite prepared, then.
He's like, I am quite an investment. He wants to see me secured.
Intriguing.
It says, this little number will electrocute anyone who touches me if I do not wish them to.
Yeah, useful.
That could be quite fun.
Was waiting for Sam to say that he slapped him on the back.
Oh,
Yes.
you of course that you would see that as a fun opportunity.
He says,
Hey,
I don't think
hey,
I don't
Magic
think
Do you know how many
Right.
times I wish I had something like that when
Timmy.
something tried to swallow me?
He says, I don't think that's the type of thing she's talking about. And he looks at you and he says, Accordia, he looks at you and says, and I don't think this is the level of titillation you'd be looking for. This is a bit beyond that.
Well, no, not that, obviously, but anything can be adjusted.
If you know how to adjust it, I don't. I just know that, the last person was smoking when they let go.
Interesting.
Yes. And apparently they
That would be
can't let
quite
go
different.
until the spell is done. It was very weird. Standing there while a person sizzled. So, anyway. Are you all willing to discuss this further?
I
I
In
do
that
have
case-
time off.
In that case, I
I'm
tell you what,
not doing anything currently.
I interrupted your meals. Please finish eating. I am going to go to the barrister. I'm going to go outside and contact the barrister and let him know we're on our way so he can prepare all the paperwork. It'll take me 20, 30 minutes to get him in line. He's like, then I'll get a coach and I'll come back and pick you up.
sounds wonderful.
Very
Fair
well.
enough.
Enjoy
I
your
would
dinner. I will
say-
cover that as well.
There we go. Only polite.
Absolutely. And so as he's walking out, you see him stop by one of the waitresses, point to your table, and you see him just like pull a little pouch out of his waistband and just drop it on her serving tray. And she kind of opens the pouch and her eyes get real big and she just nods to him very quickly. And he just turns and walks out the door.
I like him.
He is a very interesting little man.
It's very interesting for certain.
So let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break right now while we go ahead and get drinks and everything like that. And we will be back in just a few minutes to continue our first adventure with Pathfinder 2E in Kingdoms of Mist. See y'all in a bit. And we're clear. I ran out of tea. I know, I love it so much. It is super, super. Southern. I already know it because I've asked him to do it before and he got stuck. those character sheets work a little bit different than the 5e ones do. So. Can you hear me, Sam? Cool. Did I put music on this?
I don't know.
Hola.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Important, so I do not mind too much.
Jeez, now we can say the crazy shit out of context.
No, you can't, because I already got my mic in.
Damn it.
And I will be able to discipline you with the power of my voice.
Harder?
What if we like the discipline?
Then I will charge you with the power of my credit card.
Wouldn't it be the
Okay.
power of our credit
Oh
cards?
yeah, the power of your credit cards. Flat hourly rate not included. So anyway, so you guys were sitting there. You had been approached by Timmy McTimerson, a halfling extraordinaire, halfling purveyor of adventurers extraordinaire, who had come up to you because he had apparently used the device upon himself to discern that you guys had quite a number of decently powerful magical items that marked you as seasoned adventurers. So he had come up with the concept of recruiting you all in order to get you to go retrieve something for the gentleman he only refers to as his master. Timmy McTimerson actually says that he represents an organization of said type folks, and he may have more work for you after this job. But he wants you all to go to the lawyer's office that he has employed to negotiate, to sign the contracts, in order to show you what the payments will be and what the terms of the contract are. He asked you guys to finish your meal. He paid for your dinners, and he is going to he's going to come back by in a little bit with a cab to pick you all up.
Well, diving into the mountains and underneath the mountains, this will be fun.
Haven't
Plenty
been
of
in
beasts.
a in quite a while.
I just hope y'all are ready to face some of the beasties out there. They're not exactly the most welcoming kind.
You and I have very different definitions of the word fun.
These cities are boring unless a fight breaks out.
You do not work in the city very much, do you?
Not if I can help it.
Mm.
The air is too stale. Smells. Ugh. Unless it's to the food. The food's the exception to that rule.
The exception to that rule.
I don't know. There was quite a bit of fresh air where I worked previously.
That is true. So there can be excitement here if you look for it.
Oh, good. I would hate for this to be a boring adventure.
Oh, if we're diving into the mountains, it's not going to be boring. Who knows what we could find down there? Hopefully no remores.
You keep saying that. Oh, there are many.
Depends on where you are. They tend to like the more icy terrain. Their bodies superheat, so they bore through ice. That's what my armor's made of. Sturdy
okay.
and strong. Good for
So can you
resisting
bore
the cold.
through ice as well?
Oh, I fucking wish.
Well,
All right.
well, since we're going to be adventuring together, we should probably be on a first name basis.
I was going to say, we haven't actually introduced ourselves.
Of course,
Ah.
Idris and I are very well acquainted. I'm Sir Acadia Armilius.
Yes. I am. Oh, excuse me. I am Idris Aratil at your service.
I'm Este Mezak.
And I'm Cecil.
Is it just Cecil?
Just
Yeah. Cecil Redmayne, but let's be honest, unless you're from a noble families, last names don't mean shit unless there's another one that shares the same first name.
sure.
So the waitress comes walking up and she says, so you guys, your meals are covered, your drinks have been covered. So can I get you all refills?
Yes, please.
Yes.
She says, "I'll be right back." And so she goes running off, comes back with some drinks, and she says, "Is there anything else you guys need tonight?"
May I have a saucer of your best milk for my and he kind of just gestures to the large cat in this app for my companion here.
She's like, okay, yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I just didn't know if we should bring in milk or half a deer."
Milk for now. Well, I will worry about the meat part once I don't want to make you worry about that.
She says, "I'll bring out a saucer of milk."
Appreciate it.
She says, "Anything else?"
I think other than that, we're good for the moment.
Yes.
She nods and she scampers off. So you guys are kind of sitting there.
Oh, eating the entire time.
Oh yeah. Redmayne doesn't seem to be affected by the awkward silence.
No, not as long as there's food.
What about the rest of you?
So, this planet, I haven't been here before. It just told me it was a good time, but does this happen often? Random.
Not in my experience. I mean, not unless you build up a reputation. Then the people do occasionally come looking for you. But when I first arrived here, this was not normal.
What, the whole being approached for jobs thing?
You
Yes.
should really finish chewing your food before you speak. It's quite rude.
Sorry, force a habit.
Only you should break it. Like
Pretty-
immediately.
It's pretty common, actually. At least depending on your field. If you're good at what you do, and
I should warn you, Cody. They are the people here are not like what you are used to on back home.
Yes. Yes. I'm getting to that. Yes. A few weeks on a pirate ship does change things.
You were on it. That was the pirate ship, and like he will look back
Oh.
towards very intently.
At least they were quite proud that they were pirates, but a different sort of pirate?
there's a different
What
type
kind
of
of
pirate.
Pirate, do you mean?
I am not sure. They just kept saying it a lot. They were quite loud about it.
Were they going to the Grand
Loud.
Line?
I do believe so. That sounds familiar.
Huh?
I might have heard about them. Very
Yeah, something about
jovial
hats.
type.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have heard about this one. He is not on my list.
You have a list?
Well, a list of pirates I should look out for.
Any ones of note?
I do not know if you would know any of them.
Do
Try
you know
me.
many pirates?
I fought one once. It was a short-lived fight.
So, as conversation is just starting to pick up, Mr. Timmerson comes walking back in the door. He says,
Okay.
"Took me less time than I thought it was going to. I apologize if I'm rushing anyone, but are we ready to go? Should we get doggy bags?"
Liv just takes the bulletproof. No, we're good.
All right, then. Let's go ahead.
What about you all?
We are fine.
I'm satisfied for the moment, yeah.
And you, Este?
Well, good.
Very good. He says, "In
Onward
that case-
then.
Yes, please. Follow me."
Goodness gracious.
And he walks you guys outside, and there is pretty much a standard carriage outside, nothing ostentatious. And he jumps up onto the first step and then climbs up into the cab.
We just will open
Very
the
well.
door to the cab and we'll.
Well, he had to open the door to
Gesture.
climb into it.
Yeah, well, He will
You mean he didn't
stand at the
phase
door
through
and will. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Slam it in his face.
it's very true. He will kind of gesture after you.
Thank you. She'll kind of do a little curtsy bow and climb on in.
Excellent. I assume everyone piles in.
Yes.
Seems a little awkwardly.
It just will
Like
get
I'm
in
like
last.
kind of
Do you do
bend
that?
down.
Do you do that thing where you like try and get in the first time and you hook the handle of your blade on the
Like,
top?
oh,
Thing. Then you try and get the second time and you bang the bottom of the blade on the other side.
Ow. Probably like wide frame probably isn't helping.
Take the sword off your back.
Yeah.
It'll probably be easier.
Still just like
Then he's like,
Let's stay with
gets
blade.
it in just
How many times do we all get poked as he's trying to get the sword in?
accidentally.
no,
smacked.
actually, no one gets poked. But what ends up happening is he puts the sword in ahead of him, and so all of a sudden, like it goes out the other window on the side of the cab.
Oh, that works. I think
It just
pull it back
waits
in.
patiently for everyone to settle before he gets in. He's just kind of like, and
Is
he
this
looks
you?
down at Roland. This is going to be interesting, boy.
I really hope we don't have to draw this on the road. This is gonna get
Why would you say something like that? It just gets
Why-
in with Roland.
Why would you tempt fate in such a way?
This is
because I know these parts.
we're only going a few blocks.
As
You'd
do
be
I.
surprised.
We would actually if someone
I-
attacked us.
Well, then we're really lucky. I can put my magic into these too.
I assume we're in my territory right now.
Yes, you would not really be outside of your territory.
Yeah. It is very unlikely we'd be attacked, and even if we were, I would be able to stop it without needing to fight.
Ah, that is good to know.
Proper escort in and without the city.
Mr. McTimerson says, well, then it is very auspicious that I have been able to find you because you will be able to provide protections for at least this section of the city, then, I assume.
Yes.
That is an added bonus. He says, all right, driver. And he taps on the side, knocks on the wall behind him. He actually has to reach up a bit because, you know, he's so short that the padding of the seat goes way up here. So he has to reach up to knock on the wood. The carriage takes off. It literally is only like 5-10 minute ride. You could have easily walked it. The carriage pulls up in front of a very small office building. It's got like 3 stories to it, but it's very narrow. It's kind of looked like it was made trapped between 2 buildings, that there was just some space there, and they built the third. Because, you know, no zoning laws either. But the Mr. Timmerson gestures for you all to get out, and as you do, you pile up, and there is a shingle hung above the door that says Keller and Keller, attorneys, barristers in practice.
Interesting.
Practice. Oh, never mind. Wrong practice.
What kind of
Mr.
practice were
Timmerson
you
is the last
thinking of?
one to get out of the cab.
Well, this is an interesting building.
I
Very.
never really liked their choices in decor, but they're amazingly well priced, and they're very, very, very good at what they do.
Good.
It says, please, and he goes up and he opens the door, and then he walks in and kind of holds it open behind him. He says, please, follow me, or come this way. And he kind of gestures down the hallway, and you can see that as you go in, there's a very small waiting room inside the door, like just literally two chairs, and like a plant that looks like it's seen better days. Then there's a hallway that goes straight ahead. As it goes back into this narrow building, at the end of the hallway, you can see that it goes there. There's a staircase. It like literally takes a hard right. And you can see the first stair of the staircase just sitting right there. So there's obviously a staircase that goes up to the second and third floors. That's at the end of the hallway. But along the hallway on the right hand side, there are 2 doors that are almost like right beside each other, and then and the first door is like 5 feet down, and the next door is like I said, right beside that, and then there's about 15 feet, and then there's another door. All in all, the building's only probably 25, 30 feet, no, 40 feet deep. And so you guys start walking. He starts, as soon as all of you come into the entryway, Mr. Timmerson kind of walks ahead of you and he says, "Follow me. We're going to go down to the meeting room at the end of the hall." And he goes walking down. He goes all the way down to the third door, and he opens it up and he says, "We have everything." And he opens it up and he says, "Mr. Keller," he says, and as he walks in, he's like, "I've got everyone here. Do we have everything ready?" And you hear a voice in the room go, I think we have everything ready to go. There's nothing really too untoward about this. It's fairly simple." And as you walk in and you see about a 7-foot tall, for lack of a better word, praying mantis. He has 2 sets of arms on his upper torso. He doesn't have multifaceted eyes. He does have 2 eyes with irises and everything like that in his head, but they're very large. And they're kind of to the sides almost. His first set of arms are folded up against him, and they do seem to have rigid blades along the insides of the folds that are pressed together. His lower set of arms have hands and much more humanoid looking arms. They're not really hands, they're like 3-fingered things with pads on them. And he has a kind of mandible-y looking mouth, and whenever he speaks, he seems to just open the mandibles a little bit and the sound comes out of them, and you can see that there's things moving in the back that apparently he's using to form words as the sound comes out of his esophagus. His upper torso is adorned with what looks to be like a vest with extra arms, and the vest has a little bow tie that's fastened underneath his neck. On his lower portion of his abdomen, his carapace, he has what the equivalent would be saddlebags draped over his back. And he is walking around on, like I said, he has those set of arms, he has lower set of arms, and then he has 4 legs that are on the ground. So he has technically 8 limbs. He kind of turns towards you all as you're coming in, and he says, Welcome very much to Keller and Practice. He says, Mr. McTimmerson has told me that he is going to be employing you. He had me draw these contracts up sometime last year, and we haven't had a chance to actually present them to anyone yet. Please, sit down. I'll pass contracts around. This room is large. It's obvious that it's designed to allow him to move around the table when people are actually sitting down, because his legs, put it this way, he's about the size of a horse.
Makes sense.
Bulk.
It's like an
He's-
insect-like centaur.
Yeah. And but he begins walking around the table, and he sets down documents in front of you. He says, I would need you to make your mark or put your names in on the lines marked with X. He says, do not sign anything until we have gone over the contract in its minutia.
No,
Like,
kidding.
He says, I would assume that everyone here can read and write Common.
And Dwarven, Jotun, and Orcish.
Well, we may have some transcribing work for you when we get done. He says, but all that aside, we make sure all the contracts are done up in Common because it is admissible in international court. And so we want to be able to ensure that it is very easy to take this to any judicial system. As you may have heard, there's not much of a judicial system here on planet. We only have this office here in order to facilitate contracts with a lot of the merchants who are going to be doing business off planet. Other than that, we also do a little bit, and he kind of looks directly at you, Este, and he says, and we do a little bit of contracts between the different organizations that operate freely here. Surprisingly enough, they do like contracts.
I'm well aware.
He says, he says, I want you to just look over the contract real quick. I am going to be breaking down and reading it out loud to you line by line. He says, and then if you have any questions, save them till after. What follows is 20 minutes of legal drool. It basically dictates, the places where he had you put your name is, or where are situations like, if you are rendered without any limbs, do you wish to continue your existence, or would you like the cost of restoration to be taken from your award? If you are killed in the process, would you like the cost of the resurrection to be taken from your ward? Do you have any form of restoration already secured for yourself? It's basically just this litany of ways you could die, and what they're supposed to do with you if you're dead.
Sure.
Valid.
Fantastic.
At the end of it, you come to the guarantees. The guarantees are as such. For undertaking this endeavor, you will each receive 2,000 gold coin in order to outfit yourselves appropriately for this journey. You will also receive 1 each of sending stones that can be used to contact each other and Mr. McTimmerson. It says, you will also be given rations in order to be able to serve 2 months on an expedition. It says, and you will have the use of 1 magical porter who will be able to carry those said rations, as they will weigh several hundred pounds. It says, other than that, all transportation, other than the initial teleportation, is up to you. The initial teleportation only covers yourselves. If you wish to bring anything else, such as, and of course, porter. It says, if you wish to bring anything else, such as mounts or anything like that, that must be negotiated separately, as we will not be providing mounts, and if you have mounts, we will need to spend extra energy to have them transported. It says, afterwards, if you retrieve the item and return alive and need not any restorations or resurrections, each of you will receive 5,000 gold coin.
Yeah, not a bad price.
It's like, if you return with, if the item is in any way damaged, you will forfeit half.
So, if the item was damaged by, the initial drop in activation...
that has been taken into account. The device will more than likely not work for you when you arrive. There is a failsafe that made the device inert once it left without the caster who created it. But that failsafe also means that really no more damage could be done to it other than the initial drop.
All right. That's at least
That was a good point, though. Thank you for bringing that up.
But of course, I'm not going to get scammed here.
Assuming if you scried on it, you know the condition it's in.
We could not directly scry on it. We got to a general location where we knew it was, and we know it's inside the mountain. As should have been described to you, the mountains in question are very, very much reft with magics that make it very, very difficult to teleport in or scry into said mountains.
Yes,
Both the mountain
Mr.
range
Timmerson
itself,
did make us aware of that.
yes, both the mountain range itself and the actual interior of the mountain. In fact, it's worse inside the mountain.
Oh, lovely.
Cheerful.
It says you are being asked to consider this job because you have been ascertained to have the prior experiences with difficult situations such as this. If you wish to abandon this cause, then you do not have to sign anything. You do not have to put your name mark anywhere, and you are free to leave. And we hope you enjoyed your meal. Mr. Timmonson says, I don't think that they'll be at this point backing out. I was fairly upfront with everything. I even told them about the curse and the Gaius. And the gentleman kind of says, oh, yes, the curse and the Gaius. The Gaius is very, very simple. The Gaius is going to compel you to return with the object, or you will suffer the consequences of the Gaius, which is usually a lot of pain. And you can't really think or do much other than think about why you're not returning the device. It says, the curse only ascertains if you manage to defeat the Gaius. The Gaius, it can be thwarted if you spend enough time resisting it, because eventually you will either die or the Gaius will run its time in its course. And once it does, it will inflict no more damage upon you and it'll be done. The curse, however, takes effect if you refuse to actually return the device. As with the Gaius, you are compelled to return the device, but you can choose not to and suffer the consequences. The curse compels you to return the device. If you do not return the device to the master as agreed, the curse will activate after 1 year. After 1 year, and you have not returned the device, for every hour that you control and hold the device on your person or keep the device from being returned to our master in any way, shape, or form, you will sacrifice 1 year of life.
This all sounds very horrifying to the dishonest sort. Thankfully, that's not me.
I too am a man of honor.
I don't mess with magical items, so all yours.
But I have no interest in magic.
It's like, either way, we just these are just fail-safes that are included in the contract to ensure that nothing untoward happens later on. But all that being said, if you have no objections, then we only need your signatures on these lines. But he pulls out a special quill, but they must be signed in blood.
All right.
Prick your finger with the quill, hold the tip of the quill in the pool of blood, allow the quill to fill, and then sign. And he hands one quill to each one of you.
There's no hesitation. Just directly into the finger. Just signs away.
Do all of you sign?
Yeah,
Yep.
but rather than stab the finger, he's gonna stab his palm.
Okay.
Yeah, the pad.
Yeah.
The thumb.
Yeah.
So when you guys break your skin with the quill, anyone who actually actively works with magic can feel magics being worked upon you. And there is a moment where you feel you could choose to resist and try and not have the magic affect you, which basically means make a save. You must choose to default on that and allow the magic to take effect, or choose to roll the saving throw.
He is going to choose to... Cecil's going to choose to fail the saving throw. He gave his word. He's a man of his word.
Right?
Yeah, it just will do the same, but as the magic kind of takes effect, anyone looking at him will see the markings on his face kind of flash with like a dim light for a moment and then recede back.
Gotcha. Estee, what about you?
I know nothing about magic.
Okay.
I there is no magic here.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
Cordia,
I don't know what
We-
magic is.
We got nothing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you all that happens, what were you gonna say, Idris?
Oh, the markings kind of flare up, the tattoo, and then they recede. But there's like a bit of a shimmer that goes across the tattoo on his face, and then nothing else. As he goes, that really is magical, isn't it?
It's like,
He's got magical tattoos too?
More or less because of my ancestry. It's kind of a tradition.
He's just gonna roll up his arm. Kind of same, and there's just it almost looks like there's tattoo of what almost looks like is designed to look like armor on the outside of the arm.
Mm-hmm. Are you an Aesala as well?
Aye.
Well, it is good to meet you, I suppose, cousin.
You're one as well.
I am.
Well, I'll be.
Mr. McTimerson looks around and says, I am such a amazing recruiter. I could not have picked a better group. He's like, 4 of some of the rarest individuals in all the 7 worlds. It's like, who does that but me?
Well, I know a family.
No, you anyway. He says, so
Idris just kind of giggles.
he says, do you? He walks over, and you see that there is a metal lockbox on the table. He opens the metal lockbox and he pulls out these bags, and he's like, each of these bags contains 200 platinum pieces. And he just starts like sliding them across to each one of you. He's like, you may use this to outfit yourselves in any way you choose. He says, but we would prefer you use it to outfit yourselves for the adventure. He says, we have already prepared the supplies. And he says, and as told, you have a porter. He says, the porter's name is Donkey. He says, and it will be summoned for you once you are teleported to the site.
Okay.
Okay.
He says, so is there anything else that you want to know from me? I can give you information that now I can give you information that relates to the location and information that relates more directly to where we think it is and what we think it is, what we think has happened with it.
Well, this particular region, what do you know about its occupants?
He says, it is deep in giant country. He says, but it originally landed somewhere just outside of giant country, and it has since been moved.
Someone found it.
The only reason we know this for certain is that my master was not able to scry it immediately, but when his scry spells actually activated, he was only able to initially scry the location that it landed in. And it wasn't until later that we were able to actually track it to where it actually was in a very roundabout way. So we're sending you to the place it landed originally, because that's the only location we have a firm lock on.
Well, and if magic's weird, we want you to land in a safe place and not get splattered somewhere. So
yes, my master's a master of transportation magic. We can guarantee your safe transportation into that area, and if you can make it back to that same area and use your stone to contact me, my master can arrange to have you brought back from that same area. He says, but if you, or farther down the mountain, out of the mountain, in farther away from the veins of crystals that cause all the issues. He says, but if you cannot, you'll make it to that same area or further away from the mountain, and you need expeditious retrieval. He says, we can arrange for a airship to make a pass through the mountains and attempt to pick you up. That would require you going higher up into the mountains to allow for access to an airship, an area where an airship could actually come in without real danger of attack or of being smashed against the mountains themselves. And remember, the mountains are known to be treacherous. The mountains are known to be very, very steep. It would be a climb. So I would suggest that you plan an escape route that takes you down and out of the mountains rather than up and try and get to an airship. He's like, and if you have any means to transport yourself off the mountains, absolutely do so. We have more than enough faith in you to handle your own transportation if necessary. He says, now, is there going to be any need for transportation of mounts?
I didn't bring one.
No, I do not use a mount generally.
No.
All right. And then we don't have to worry about any of that. That's off the agenda. He says, do you have any questions, more questions for me? I have more specific information. Let me just say, the area that you're going to land in is a very narrow pass that goes through the mountains. It is used for expeditions into the mountains by mining companies. It has been well traveled, but it is also prone to ambush by not just by standard bandits, but also by giant kin who come down from the mountains to raid. It says there has been no real big expeditions recently into the mountains, although there are quite a number of precious veins that have been mined out there. There is no permanent mining settlement out there that we know of. We know that the giants do mine. They often make use of conscripted labor, however, because for them to mine something on their size, it takes more effort than if they were just utilizing people more your size. So they often employ goblins and orcs who also live in those areas to mine the precious ores and crystals out of that area. And we know that the giants themselves are not above taking those twisted crystals and grinding them up for dust. It says, so if there is anything that I can warn you about is do not trust any of the giant casters. Most of them are addicts.
It is good to know.
Wonderful.
I guess we're lucky I can get big and speak Jotun.
If you want to try and pass yourself off as a giant, I know that the area we're putting you down in is very much very much settled by the frost giants.
Oh, that could definitely make things interesting.
This is one of the things I would recommend you getting is, well, one of the two different things I recommend you getting: wet gear for wet weather and cold gear as you get up into the mountains more. It says it is almost constantly raining in the lower altitudes of the mountains because of the wind shear and what it does with the weather from going up the side of the mountain. He says, and when you get into the higher elevations and it gets colder, that rain turns to snow and sleet, and everything is iced over and everything is frozen.
Wonderful.
Yes.
It's like,
Fantastic.
and we do believe you're going to have to go up a bit in order to actually get to the only known entrance that we were able to ascertain by employing a druid to scout the area initially.
Well then.
Lovely.
Indeed.
Unfortunately, the druid didn't come back from their last scouting mission, so we only had his initial reports.
This is getting better and better.
This will definitely be interesting.
It's like we're being very, very transparent with you. We want to make sure that there is enough information so you can do your best to complete the mission. That's our goal.
Yes, of course.
Any other questions?
Where would be the best place to pick up said gear?
It's like there are lots of outfitters around here. For cold weather gear, it's going to be a bit more difficult to find it. There's not a lot of cold weather down here in the Badlands. It says, but the rain gear you can find anywhere. You're on a lake. It says, but the cold weather gear you're probably going to have to look around for. I unfortunately don't have any direct lines to give you right now. It says, but I can actually put out some feelers and see if I can find anyone who might be able to accommodate you.
That'd be lovely.
How many
Yes.
days do you want to get yourself outfitted?
Considering we'll need cold gear, I would say perhaps 4 days. It gives us time to find someone so we can source the cold gear. Even my contacts will take time to see if they know anyone.
It's like, that is perfectly acceptable. It says, my master has been waiting quite a while to find an adventuring troop of your caliber. So he is more than willing to wait to make sure that you are equipped to handle the situations that you're going to run into.
Well, wonderful then. We shall meet you here 4 days, or do you have a proper office?
He opens the case. He opens a small case in front of him, and he's like, take these. He's like, sleep with them under your pillow tonight, and they will be bonded to you. He says, each one of these can contact all of the others, and he reaches into his vest pocket and pulls out one, and mine. He says, just think of the person that you want to speak to, and then speak into the stone. If you want several people, think of this multiple people, etc., etc. And if you want everyone, just think of all of us, and everyone will hear what you say. It does produce audible noise, and you have to acknowledge the stone for it to start speaking.
Huh.
Interesting.
Unique.
Is there any questions about that?
None here.
No, I think that's simple enough to figure out.
It's like, all right.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Well, thank you all so much. As you may have ascertained, this has been a very difficult endeavor to source. And I honestly hope that Lady Luck has shined down upon me and provided us with this very fortuitous situation, and that you will be the people to actually succeed in this endeavor.
You
Yes,
and me
let
both.
us hope.
Yes, that's what I see as well. And what was that? I'm sorry, sir, I didn't understand what you were saying. Cecil?
This shouldn't be too bad, I don't think. Yeah, it's gonna be dangerous, but can't be nearly as dangerous as going out on a pure hunt in some cases.
Like, I hope not, but I will not. I, as an uneducated layperson in this field, will not try and dissuade you. I have considerable knowledge that it is not going to be a simple feat.
Nothing ever is. But that's what makes it fun.
He's like, if that is your consideration of fun, then yes, you are absolutely in for a wonderful time. Like, in that case, I will leave you to your outfitting. Again, if you have any need of me, if you have trouble finding the cold gear, I am going to put my resources on it. I will be reaching out to you all, hopefully shortly, to let you know how well it's going for me and if I'm going to be able to find anything. It says, he looks at you and says, hey, Miss Mizek, I understand that you also may have resources to pull towards this. If it would help in any way, shape, or form, we will be more than willing to pay premium for this.
I will make that known to my contacts.
I understand that might be a way to help motivate. Like,
Thank you.
no, thank you. And you, of course, will have a finder's fee. He says, but I will be competing with you against that because I get a finder's fee if I get it.
That's fair.
He's like, may the best merchant win. And he looks at the rest of you. He's like, in the meantime, I will leave you all to your endeavors. If you wish, we have acquired rooms at the Bolaire, which is a very fine establishment. But I know that some people do not like such fineries. So if you wish, I can provide you with a stipend for the next 4 days to stay anywhere you'd like. The Bolaire is Bolaire is the nearest thing to refinement you will find anywhere around here. It is a sandstone building that is pretty much it is. Think of a large hacienda or villa in Spain. It is built onto the side of the actual crater, and it is multiple stories tall. But since it's built inside the crater, it's built in steps. And it is kind of like almost a resort. There is a hot spring that runs through along one edge of the crater. There's a volcanic rock on one of the edge of the crater. And the hot spring is actually what the Bolaire is built around. So it is known by medicants and a lot of other people as healing waters. So there's a lot of people who go there for that. It is also a resort with like mud baths, massages, everything you could want. And it is very much a upscale place. And it's a little bit outside of the city, so it's a kind of a little bit of a journey to get back and forth.
It'll work.
It'll work.
It'll work.
You're
It'll
like,
do.
Pampering, I'll ride a horse for half an hour.
It's fine.
Ride in a carriage for
being
half an hour.
Pampered, why not?
It's not that fancy.
I'm not
but-
going to turn down rooms at the Bolaire.
No, I live in the area, but nothing so fancy as this. So I would be remiss to refuse
Miss
it.
out.
Remember, if you succeed in this, my master is endeavoring to ensure that you would be willing to also take on other work for the organization as well. So we just want you would understand that the organization not only pays well, but there are benefits.
Yes, you keep mentioning organization. You also mentioned that upon that there would be a level of trust before you were to name said organization. We have trusted you with our blood, sir. So if you would be so kind as to enlighten us as to which organization we are procuring this item for.
The Majestic Society of Arcanists.
Is that a familiar name?
We're gonna do a roll. I gotta find a sheet to see what you're gonna roll. Let me see. What type of skills we got here for you? You can either roll occultism, or you can roll arcana, or you can roll society.
They're all the same anyways, so we'll just roll occultism.
I'm gonna roll Arcana because one of us is a master at Arcanus.
I'm going to be
Arcana.
doing the same because I also
That is
have
a
master.
natural 20 for a 34.
Holy shit.
Wait,
Nice.
So that's a 34.
Damn, that is a much lower roll than I expected.
Oh dang, you and me both.
Jeez, a 2 on die for a total of 21.
Got a 6 on die for a total of 26.
I see Cassie making
Damn.
faces. You're not rolling?
nah, I don't.
It's like
Magic, whatever. It
So-
happens.
The Majestic Society of Arcanus is basically a organization, and you know this through your contacts in the Pearl, because they have done business with them. The Majestic Society of Arcanists is a very limited a very elite organization of magical creatures and casters. They're not all human, or they're not all humanoid. There are at least 2 known dragons who are members. There is a Kirin that's a member. And there's not like a known roster, but there's kind of some celebrity casters who are known to be part of it. And these are casters who basically attend like they'll go to the court of High King David and attend, a ball there and stuff like that. They make it a big deal to let everyone know that they are a big deal. But they actually are very powerful casters. But there's also a large percentage of the organization that are not known even to the members like high members of the Pearl. And there is rumors that they go out their way to make this truth by using things such as mind-altering spells that change memories. And it's rumored that if they find someone who knows too much about them and is very resistant to their techniques, that they definitely make them disappear. It's not known if they kill them or not. One rumor is that they make them invisible and silent and immaterial, but not a ghost.
Interesting.
A life worse than death.
Well, the problem is they can't eat or drink.
Yeah, you waste away.
So
at
it
that.
is a death sentence.
But they don't kill them.
Yeah, it's not
Time
not
kills
directly
something.
killing them. Yeah, they let their bodies and time do the work.
And they be walking around as trying to beg people for help, and no one can hear or see them.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So,
Hang on,
that's
hang
usually
on.
something they save for individual members who get out of line. So, Mr. McTimerson looks at you all and says, if there is nothing else, I am going to go ahead and he kind of looks at Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller, is everything in order in your end? And you see Mr. Keller has got like a monocle on one eye, and he is like going through the documentation. And he's like, yes, everything looks right. I don't have any blanks left unfilled. Everything is checked. Everything is dotted. He says, I will file these, and I will send your master the copies. He says, and everything is on our end is set. And he kind of looks at you all, and he extends his arms out, and like almost like in a farewell, and he says, I am excited to hear of your endeavors when you return. He says, please enjoy your time at the estate. He says, and may your journeys be safe and fruitful, and may this adventure be boring.
I hope not.
Okay, he can have excitement, and every one of the rest of you can be bored.
I do hope so.
He says, he kind of looks at Joel and he says, in that case, I'm going to lock up for the evening. I do not mean to be rude, but it was much later than we normally stay open. He's like, but Mr. McTimerson is a very special client.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
It is an absolute
Indeed.
pleasure to make all of your acquaintances, and I hope we can look forward to doing business together again in any way, shape, or form. If you have any need for any off-world services, we have offices on Elatris. We have offices in Cormenthor, and we did have an office in Iambar. But we're having some trouble negotiating with the local governments now. We do have barristers who are elves, but apparently the fact that the business is owned by non-humanoids is a problem. So we may not have an office on Iambar much longer.
Elves are picky.
Very much so. It is. But all that being said, I hope you have a wonderful evening. And he kind of like sits there and waits for you all to leave.
Yep. Just bow and
Mr. McTimerson
Leave.
walks out with you. As you guys go out into the street, Mr. McTimerson, the coach is still sitting there, and Mr. McTimerson says, if you want, and you're all going to stay there, we can take you out to the Bolero now. It says, and you can come back in the morning and start your equipping.
Sounds
That
wonderful.
sounds fine to me.
He's
oh,
like,
yes, I do need a bath.
Yes, you were on a pirate ship for quite some
Yes.
time.
Mud bath,
That's
the mineral mud bath there is absolutely amazing. The hot springs keep the mud warm the entire time. He says, and you will, if you drown by falling asleep, I would completely understand. It's the most relaxing
Please
thing
do not
ever.
drown. You only just got here.
No, of course not.
The attendants would never let her drown. They would stick straws up
Why
her
would
nose.
you bring something like that up? That
It
is
was-
very
it
discerning.
was
And he gets in
humor,
there.
humor. We now know who the
You have a
uptight one
weird
is.
sense of-
He climbs
No,
into
I
the
am not
carriage.
uptight. I'm looking out for my friend.
He's like, she's not actually going to drown. There are attendants.
He gets in, and Roland gets in behind him.
All right, I've learned from last time.
He takes it
Ah.
off first.
Did you learn? Did you truly learn?
Perhaps we should have let him get in first.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. And he and Roland both get out.
Yes. No.
Mr. McTimerson's like, I shouldn't be an obstacle. I'm 2 feet tall. And
That is
and
fair.
and he
Okay.
promptly gets swapped with the handle of the sword.
So say yes.
all right.
It's like,
Gets it just immediately gets impaled.
he goes like, oh, I should have known better than to push my luck.
I mean,
Sorry.
really, that is a type of skill.
He's like,
Yes.
I will trust in you all, but I'm going to accompany you out to make sure everything is settled and you get settled in. He says, and then I am off to bed. He says, I will. If you need anything tomorrow, reach out with the stones. If not, then I will see you back at the offices in 4 days.
Very
Sounds
well.
good.
He's like, oh, let's say 2 o'clock in 4 days. Unless you want to go
Right.
early in the morning.
You know the mountains best. What do you think?
Yes, well, we need time to scout out a camp or an inn or something.
It's definitely better to try to leave early so that we can have the most daylight. Once night begins to set, things get dicey. We'll want to bring stuff for a camp.
Oh, I do love dicing.
He says, also, you're going to be trapped in the pass, and it's at least pretty much a day's walk to the north to get out. It's about 3 days walk to going south. So, and the pass basically, it winds, but it for the most part goes north-south. You can
So-
climb out of the pass and go along the ridges, but I wouldn't recommend it as you are in full view of everything around.
Ah, fine.
Perhaps we say 7 then.
7 in the morning?
Also works.
Yes.
If
Hmm.
daylight is best.
If that is your wish, that is my command. I am absolutely rubbish in the morning, so do not look for such a shining and wonderful visage as myself currently. I like the nightlife. I like to boogie.
On the disco. Yes.
It says,
I am familiar with this.
in the meantime, we will abscond to the hacienda, and we will get you all, well, absconded. So
There
you
we
all-
go.
So after the sword is secured in the cab, you guys all pile in. It is about 30 to 45 minutes ride to get out to the place, but you can see it literally as you're riding up the side of the hill. It is this huge sandstone building that has been like the ground has been, the crater's wall has been cut out a bit, and the building has been built into it. Think like the Pueblos on the side, built into the sides of the cliffs. He's like, and it is lit up with like all kinds of like there's what do you call them, the big pots that they put the coals in and light them on fire,
Braziers.
braziers. Yeah, there's braziers everywhere. There are hanging pots that are basically just torches hanging by the doorways. Because it's higher up on the wall, there's a wonderful breeze that comes up from the lake. And you can smell as you get closer that there are all kinds of, like, there's fresh jasmine growing everywhere and everything like that. It's as you come in, there's nothing but this wonderful scent of jasmine and spices that are probably being burned in some of the braziers that are basically filling the air with this enticing and relaxing aroma as you come walking up the steps into the main lobby.
Ooh.
Not
If
bad.
yeah, so are you guys gonna do anything in the evening, or are you just gonna go check your rooms out?
As we're
probably
like
go-
walking in, I'm gonna try to like snatch jasmine blossom and just like tuck it into Este's hair. Just, I mean, color suits you, love.
Thank you.
Yes, it is quite nice.
So as you guys walk in, there is an attendant who greets you, and she just says, "The McTimerson party?" And Timmy kind of nods, and he says, "Yes, these are our guests." He says, "I want you to treat them as you would myself or my master. He says, anything they need is to be met with joyous rakos, as they are your only reason for living for the next 4 days." And she bows to him, and then she bows to all of you. She is about a 5 foot tall humanoid, very olive complected skin, very dark hair that is perfectly kept swept back. She has a straight lined bangs. Her hair is very full around her head. It's definitely been styled in some way to make it fuller. She basically is wearing a silk, not gi, toga, a silk toga, which is belted around the waist with a leather belt. The toga is open-sided on both sides. It's just held in place with belts, and she kind of she has a clipboard in her hand, and she says, "I have your rooms prepared. Inside in your rooms, we already have placed trays of fruit." And bottles of and wine has already been prepared to accompany that. She says, we will be serving dinner for the next several hours in the dining room, but you are also allowed to take meals in your room at any time you'd like. He says, merely pull the bell rope in your room, and an attendant will come to see to your needs. He says, "May I show you to your rooms?"
Yes.
Of
Yes,
course.
She takes the lead and she's walking ahead of you. For those of you who understand this, her walk has a lot of roll to her hips. It almost seems like it's exaggerated if it wasn't just done so casually. Like, she doesn't seem to be concentrating. Like, if she taught herself how to do this, she practiced a long time till it became second nature. And she walks ahead of you. She never once looks back at you. She takes you to the right after you come in the entrance. There's a huge lobby, by the way, in the main entrance with couches strewn about. In the back of the lobby, there is it's like an open veranda that opens out into a courtyard area that has a huge pool in it, and it looks like a natural pool, and you can see that there's steam coming off the water of the pool. And there are people out there in various states of undress. I mean, there are people who are just completely naked, and it's not like there are people who are making out, but there's people who are also just like enjoying the hot springs. There are people who are just talking. There's people fully clothed. There's people naked. It doesn't seem to matter. No one seems to be uncomfortable. And she, as you turn right, she says the hot springs are open day and night. She says there are always attendants waiting on the guests at the hot springs. You can get meals there if you like. We do ask that guests do not take food or drink into the hot springs, as we greatly appreciate keeping the waters as pure as possible for everyone's enjoyment. But there are tables and chairs all around the hot springs, and if you need more space, the attendants can bring tables from the dining room to create a larger dining experience if you meet other people that you wish to spend time with and have a larger group event. She says, but all that is just a request away. Anything you need, please ask. And as she walks past that, she walks down a hallway, and she comes to an area where there are 2 rows of doors that go all the way down a hallway. At the end of the hallway on the left-hand side, there is another corridor that goes to the left. On the right-hand side, there is, just past that corridor, there is another door at the end of the hallway. There's a double pane shutter at the end of the hallway on a window. The shutters are opened at this time to let the breeze go through. But there's no like glass or anything in the window. It's just shuttered. And so, but the shutters are currently open to let a breeze come through. And she says the 4 rooms on the right-hand side going down from that door all the way down to the end are yours. He says, we did not make any special accommodations for anyone at the time because we did not have any knowledge of your wants or needs. So we kept the accommodations as general as possible. If there's anything specific you need in your room, please let us know and we will acquire it for you. You may pick your rooms and let us know when you are ready to have supper.
Idris will walk to the door that's like closest to the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
or like it is more like flush with the hallway.
That would either be the one at the end of the hallway or the door beside that. They're kind of like catty corner from that hallway.
Okay, then he'll take the one at the end of the hallway.
Okay.
And he will stop at the door. He'll kind of look to like an empty space next to him, and he begins like kind of muttering in Elvish.
Okay.
And if I don't know if any of you speak Elvish, okay, then you will hear him mutter,
Language.
"Oh, calm down. You are the worst." Yes, I was planning on going to the hot springs anyway, so yes, of course we're gonna come. Okay, let us at least get into the room first. And then he walks into the room.
It's calling on me, honestly. It's calling on me.
The hot springs awaits. Well, once we offload our gear.
Yep. Because you're all carrying your backpacks or whatever you have.
Ray, are the doors locked or unlocked?
The doors are unlocked currently.
Cool. As Esty approaches the door, once it's within range, anyone who's watching would just see it. It looks like her shadow opens the door.
That's cool.
Idris will clock that, but we'll say nothing.
Alrighty. So what say we unpack, get some nice relaxation in before we go into the mountains and almost maybe die. Who knows?
Again,
You make it
you
sound
are
so
You
welcoming.
are incredibly fearful about the possibility of almost dying, and it's
I
slightly
do it on a-
concerning.
Look, I do
it
this on a
I have a
daily.
lot to do.
You know where I'm from. There's the chance of even making it this far in life's like 20%, right?
No.
Yes, we're all very impressed. And Accordia's just gonna walk into her room
Press.
and
No,
close
this is
the door.
normal around here.
So
It just giggles.
in each of the rooms, it is set up with a very large overstuffed bed that is in the far room up against basically, you see these from outside, but it's basically a wall of those slated windows that are all open currently. There is a almost diaphanous curtain across those slated windows that's kind of this wafting in the breeze into the room. There is directly across from the bed, there is a large like end table against the wall. And on that table, there is a glass of wine, a glass of cold water, and a large tray full of cheeses and fruits and everything like that. To your right, as you come in the door, there is another door that when you open it, as you open it up, you can go into a room, and it's obviously an indoor privy. But there is no... Normally a privy is just a hole goes down. There is no real hole in the bottom of the privy. It's like a cement slab, like marble, with a very comfortable looking seat on it that has an obvious hole for business. But it just goes down, and it looks like it goes into a marble basin about 2 feet below it, 2 or 3 feet below it.
No splash, Captain.
So you don't know how that works or what happens, but apparently it goes nowhere. And directly across from that, there is a large brass tub. And there is a spigot that comes out of the wall. And there are 2 stones on either side of the spigot in the wall. One is red and one is blue.
Ooh,
Indoor
Happy
plumbing.
time.
it's gonna be big.
It's going to be big.
That is nice. That is nice.
So I'm going to just ask you guys what you plan on doing for the evening.
Well, this is definitely something a bit much more lavish than Cecil is necessarily used to. So he is going to enjoy it. So he's quite literally going to get ready for the hot springs,
Mhm.
enjoy himself, mingle, and just what's the term? Bask in the glow.
Gotcha.
Idris and Roland will do the same. Like Idris and Roland will eventually come out. Idris wearing like one of the fluffy robes. Roland will have in his mouth the basket with like the towels and the salts and things. And they will wander over to the hot springs.
All right. Este?
So she probably unpacks a little bit, has a glass of wine, and eventually does head to the hot springs because she's not going to pass up that opportunity.
You can't. You can't.
I mean, you could, but why would you? Accordia?
Cordia's gonna grab her glass of wine, disrobe. She's gonna pull out her own silk robe to wear because you don't. Yeah, we're not gonna touch
Hotel
this.
robes.
Yeah, I don't know where it's been.
I don't know where it's been. Okay.
She's going to try to procure like a dry cleaning service to get her coat cleaned because it smells like pirates.
Oh yeah, if you pull the bell and you ask for your clothing to be laundered, they take the clothing and they hand you a ticket, and they say, "We will bring this back to you within a few hours." He says, "If you are if you are asleep by then, or you are not in your if you're asleep by then, just put out the do not disturb sign, and we will hold it until you are ready."
Certainly. Sounds great. And she'll offload her clothes and then, go find the hot springs.
Gotcha. What is, just out of curiosity, what is everyone wearing to the hot springs?
Towel.
Underneath
Silk
the
robe,
robe, just a
A little
towel.
untied. Yeah, the robe just a little untied. So it's like kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Pretty much. All right. Which is not uncommon. It's a hot spring. And yeah. So you guys are going to head to the hot spring. That is going to be all we're going to do for this evening, as we have successfully introduced everyone to each other without killing anybody.
Yay!
Yeah.
Are we doing the hot spring next episode?
Mm-hmm.
Hot
We'll be
spring
starting with the hot
episode.
spring.
Episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having been with us tonight for dinner and a game. We really appreciate it. This is the first adventure in our new Pathfinder 2E game that we are going to be playing probably until the new year. But if everyone likes it, we might do like alternating games between the two different games, Pathfinder and 5E. So who knows? But in the meantime, we are going to say goodnight. I am going to ask my amazing players to tell everyone where they can be found on the massive interwebs. This time we'll go backwards, and we'll start with Markov & Co.
What is up, y'all? You guys can find me usually every Wednesday here, or every Tuesday along with Cassie over on ADH Adventures. Normally, you'd be able to find me every other Saturday on me and the wife's channel over at the Starfield, but unfortunately, as we are currently down a player and can't proceed without them, but also the scheduling monster is just being an absolute bastard.
The curse
having
of
to-
games.
We're having to put some of that on hold so we can figure out what to do about that. That you can find me on all socials as Markov & Co. or various iterations of it.
Yeah, excellent. Now we go over to the amazing and wonderful Cassie.
Yes. Hi, everybody. As Sam said, you can find me here Wednesdays, ADH Adventures on Tuesdays. My scheduling monster has only affected my Friday campaign, which nobody sees. It's fine. My DM's haunt actor, so
Yeah.
we know what's
Ouch.
happening. Yeah, it's great. Other than that, I'm on social media, the TikTok, the Twitter, the Instagram. I think I still have a Hive. You can find me at Lady Vamp, where I don't post anything, but sometimes you might get something. Who knows?
Yeah, you posted something a little while ago. Or you reposted something you posted previously, but your
Did I? I
cosplays.
think-
Your cosplay.
Yeah, my cosplays are on my Instagram. My Twitter is just nonsense, and yeah.
That's okay. Twitter is just nonsense, so it fits. It completely fits. And next we have Miss Liss.
Yes, you can find me obviously here on Wednesdays. Normally, I would be on the Starfield on the alternating Saturday from Sam, but like you said, the scheduling monster being down a player has just made the Vampire and 100 games the cursed games.
The schedule monster is the only real monster in TTRPGs.
Yes.
Mhm.
And you can find me every other Friday also here on Dinner Game for our Tales from the Loop game called Best Days. It takes place in the 80s, and it's great.
Yep. Guess what? My other Friday campaign just wrapped up.
I know.
We may talk later. So, and finally, we have the amazing Sphinx Akasha.
I think you froze.
I think
He did freeze.
Perfectly timed freezing.
Hello,
Oh,
everybody.
he's back. He's back.
Oh, we got him. Maybe
Maybe sign
we
in.
jinxed it.
Yeah.
We jinxed it.
Can you guys hear me at least?
I can.
Yeah.
Can you hear me at least?
Yeah, we
Now
can.
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay. Hi, I am Sphinx Akasha, your champion of bards. I can be found on TikTok as SturpleDM. Sphinx Akasha everywhere else on the internet. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you can find me right here with Dinner and a Game. On every other Friday, as well as Saturdays and Sundays, you can find me with ADH Adventures. On Fridays, on every other Friday, you can find me running my campaign, Agents of the Circle. We're in our 5th and final season. The party is in the Kingdom of Anthem, underneath the Temple of the 36 Chambers, trying to find a way out. They just fought a quartet of mummy lords, as well as an earth elemental, and now they have to get past an aboleth in a pool of blood. So join us to see how that all works out.
Sounds beautiful.
And if you, it's all 5 seasons are currently also podcasts, so you can get those wherever you listen to your podcasts. And yeah, catch up and join us for shenanigans and antics.
Shenanigans and antics. That's basically every campaign you will ever be in, ladies and gentlemen. Shenanigans and antics. In fact, they could rename D&D that. But if you want to find more Dinner and a Game content, you can see our link tree, where you can find links to our YouTube, where we archive all of our shows on there, and they basically come up about a week after the show is live, and you guys can watch all of our back episodes. We have literally years worth of content on there, and you guys can see it all there for free. You can also find us on all of our other social medias, including Instagram, Twitter, Hive, the works. Actually, we don't have, what is the blue one?
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky. We don't have Blue Sky yet. So I don't even know how to get Blue Sky.
I don't even know what that is.
Blue Sky is another Twitter.
That's a weird kind of like
Fantastic.
thing where you have to wait for an invite. If I get an invite code, I'll send you one.
Okay. It's just another social media that I'll have to keep up with. It's like, I post one video on TikTok, but I post it 40 times other places.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if you want to support Dinner and a Game, always remember Many Worlds Taverns is one of the best ways you can do that. They are an ethically sourced coffee and tea company. They have amazing varieties of tea flavors. They have incredible coffees. And if you use the link in our chat right now to place an order, we'll get 10% of that order as a gratuity from them. And if you use the discount code that's in chat right now, which is Dinner and a Game, when you order, you'll get 10% off your entire order. So please do that if you can, because they're an amazing company. They're based out of Houston, Texas, so they're neighbors and friends. We actually got invited to their office, but we're in Dallas and they're in Houston.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, but next time I go to Houston, I'm definitely gonna go check it out. We are going to. They are going to be. This code is good for as long as we are affiliates with them, and we love them very much. So we'll always be affiliates. They also have things like dice mats and dice boxes, cases, and everything like that. They also have like Magic the Gathering play mats and stuff like that. So they have a bunch of gaming stuff related stuff. They're all gamers, and their company is wonderful, and their products are obviously amazing. And finally, if you want other amazing products, we have merch. As you can see by some of the amazing people wearing it right now, we have our zip front hoodie, which Miss Liz is modeling for you right now. We have our Dinner and a Game shirt, which Sam is wearing right now, which is basically our imprinted logo. And we have our Intelligence is a Dumpstat shirt that I am currently wearing as a man dress. Because I got it way big because I like comfy, roomy things. All these products are available in our merch link, which is up in chat right now. Remember, every single all profits from the merch link go directly to Dinner and a Game, which helps us support the stream by doing things like bringing on paid GMs, which we're doing right now. We're in the interview process for that. And it helps us by allowing us to support our habits of going to cons to meet these amazing people and make more connections to other groups so we can do more affiliate programs with other people. So we would love to be able to pay our players as well as our GMs. That is our ultimate goal. But right now we just want to get to our GMs. We can pay our GMs. And remember, it is sub month on Twitch, so the subs are all 25% off. If you sub to us, that was the best way to support us because it goes directly to us, and we really appreciate that. And anything you can do is appreciated, and we love you all. So we are going to go ahead and see who we can raid. Dork Tales is up. Critical Bard is up. Perception Studios is up. Who else do we got? Open a new tab. Twitch. Who do you got? I know that ADH Adventures is off tonight. Jarl of Goats is up. He's playing D&D. I haven't rated him in a long time. We'll go and rate him. Jarl of Goats. That's who we're going to rate tonight. So you guys, after we log off, after we disappear, stay online for a little bit. We'll be starting the raid up after we disappear off the screen. But we wanted to once again say thank you to everyone. We want to remind you, at Dinner Game, we always save you a seat at the table, but please be careful out there. Social distance where you can. Wear a mask when you can. The surges are back. They never really went away. We need you to be careful. A lot of us went to Gen Con. Almost all of us came back with COVID. It's the new con crud. Be careful. Protect yourself because doing that will help you protect others. And we worry about you because we're your mom.
I'm your mom now. Deal with that. I've adopted all of you.
In the meantime, thank you so much again, guys. And we will be seeing you... Actually, we'll be seeing you next week for the replacement for Emerald Sanctums, which is going to be next Tuesday because we were supposed to debut it this week, but we had 2 people go out sick on the very first night.
No!
Yeah, it was great. We were all like, let's go, and 2 people were just like, no, I can't. And we're like, oh crap. Well, I guess
I'm dying to go.
But we're playing Monster of the Week over there, and it should be a freaking blast. So we will see you guys later. Thank you so much again, and we love you, and good night.
Good night.
Night.